Hey, my name's Rachel Antrell. I play Commander Nhan on Star Trek Discovery. Welcome to Timeline Talks.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live in Technicolor from the beautiful Hollywood Hills, California. The show where the total retail price of their advice is $0. This is Timeline Talks. Featuring guest stars. The fact of the matter is, oh my, it's stars and garters. Also featuring, more like command tips suck, look out, it's Automaton 2000. And now, there's no way he gets this intro right. Here's your host, Captain Idol.
Yes, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We're back once again for another month for Timelines Talks. I am your host, Captain Idol. I'm joined by Auto and Stars. The boys are back again. We are here for another show.
And the Frog is here.
Can I just applaud you on how fantastic that version of you did was? You just literally said to me one day and went, "This is the pre-show."
That was Kermit. That wasn't me.
Oh, yeah, of course it was, yes. The Skill Set Connection, also filmed in 1978.
Yeah. Dude, I uploaded that and it got taken down instantly. They're like, copyright violation. I'm like, whatever.
The YouTube version of the show might be a bit late while I cut that out.
We should have seen this coming.
Yeah. I have disputed it, and it's going through. We'll see if Disney are going to be good or bad with us, but we'll see. But yes, welcome everyone. We've got a jam-packed show for you tonight. Since we haven't been here for about a month, due to one thing or another, things just happen. You go on holidays, no one's to blame. We have public service announcement. There is 1 day left to submit your questions for Wicked Realm Games. They'll be finished at, noon Eastern time tomorrow, Auto, because I think you're going to collate it all then.
Yeah, as well as the charity vote. So yes. They're both. The charity vote is in announcements, and we have a channel for the WRG questions. And I think Ben intimated that if the questions don't all get asked on the March 23rd date, that WRG will have an appearance during the charity stream.
They will.
They'll probably take some questions, comments live from the chat, which we'll be heavily moderating. Only we can directly insult the lovely employees of WRG.
Yes. So we've got that coming up. So yeah, please go to the announcement channel and pick your favourite charities. You can vote on more than one if you wish. There's 5 to choose from. They're all fairly fantastic. We're happy with whichever one goes through. So 1 day left. Put your questions in. They'll both end at noon Eastern tomorrow, where we'll announce the winner. Another thing to announce, on Saturday, we will have Star Trek Adventures again with Stars' excellent Enterprise campaign. Hope maybe concluding, we shall see. We said that last time, didn't we?
How much of you remember, frankly?
Probably nothing. We'll probably go back around in circles all the other places going, oh, what was this? Oh, magnetic shielding. Oh, okay. So, yes,
can we beat the answer out of them somehow?
Yes.
Don't ask questions.
How
Either run them over with a car
to just win. Just let me have. I rolled a 20.
So just keep whipping it. Just keep whipping it. That's how I go.
Whip it good. So we've got a jam-packed show tonight. We're going to talk about the new queue. We're going to talk about honor hall people. We're going to talk about campaigns. We've got the event hub update. We've got Quantum Pass, as well as all the event crew that have been passed, as well as Auto's reign of terror on the leaderboards during the last mega, and with some other things to go through. But first of all, I mean, so many congratulations have to happen over for the events that we've missed. Most of them are Auto, but we will just pay attention to the last one before we get to that. Congratulations, Blue Angel from the Space Junkies, for winning 5/5 Killy from that last event. So Bajoran claps all round. Congratulations to TLA. I saw a lot of names from their fleet up in the leaderboard. I reckon that was a combined push. Not a name I see often up there.
Idle. It's pronounced Talar.
Oh, Talar. Sorry, I didn't realise it was a Vulcan fleet.
Yeah, Talar.
James C. Kirk at 12. Number 17, Joshua Tree. 2 Brodies at 18 and 19. Our favourite I'm going to assume the top 50 at some point is going to be all Brody one day. 20.
Mitosis.
Yes.
See, this is the thing. This is the long con my boyfriend is playing on me. Oh, I played this game and I didn't get into it, but you enjoy it, sure, right? And I find out he's been rinsing the top 50 for fucking years. God damn it.
It's like, why are you speaking to me much here? Number 20, Flash, one of our Voyage verifiers on the Discord. 24, King Louis. 26, another Brody. 38, Vija. And everyone, congratulations for those that made the top 30. Before I can finish completely dominating all the conversation, we need to spin the wheel, because we haven't done this in so long. We have to spin the wheel to see who will win this month's
47, Rikers Island. I see you there.
There you go. And any other shout-outs you want to make out in chat for anyone that's there. I'm sure Genos is around somewhere. Yes, let's spin the wheel. Thank you very much for everyone that submitted a show title. It was, who was the winning one this time? I didn't get the name. I'm a terrible host and terrible person that runs this show. Congratulations to Low Cost Monkey. Thou shall not quantum pass for winning the vote on the Discord. But we shall spin the wheel to see who will win the subs. Now, this time I have actually opened up again to people with subs already, because I felt like the wheel was a little bit uncrowded. Maybe get a few more people might come in and go, oh, actually, I'll win another sub. So let's spin this wheel when it loads. Please load. There we go. And... Congratulations, Mirabitor! We will sort you out. Send us your Twitch username and we will sort you out a sub for the show. And if you already got a sub, we'll sort you out a renewal for that. But yes, congratulations. Guys, please stop me talking. How's things with you? You know what?
I'm in a pretty happy place in the game right now. I was feeling pretty low on it over the weekend. I was like, oh, you know what? I have things I could be doing with my time that perhaps are more productive. And then I looked at Auto's beautiful face, and I was like, you know what? No, this is the game that brought us together. I could never turn my back on this game. But I'm sure that won't last. I'm sure that they'll find something to mess up. But for now, I'm riding pretty high. Right, I have a 4 out of 5 killie I can finish at my leisure. There's a Worf in the honor hall that I can buy at my convenience. There are many which ways I can progress my game that do not involve finishing Braxton.
I like to see how this Braxton hate has evolved as much as my J.G. Palmer hate has come up. Love has come up. I can't believe I said hate there, Jesus.
Freudian slip.
How about you, Otto?
I feel like you've already turned your back on me, sirs, because we watched Relativity nary a week ago, and you agreed that Bruce McGill did a pretty damn good job. His total irritation with Janeway being a complete nit and screwing up the the timeline over and over again. He was a pretty good character. So.
It's okay, Faye, man. Come on.
Dude, you're the best heel in the biz. All right. Hey, Cold.
Thank you, Cold, for resubscribing. I liked how you waited for the wheel to not spin. Actually, I don't think your name's on this week. Never mind. But yes. Oh, and
he was just waiting. Am I going to get it? And slap.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought someone else had followed that, but I need to do the thing. Guys, shall we talk about the hottest crew, literally hot off whatever the equivalent of WRG's pressers are, 25th century Q from literally tonight's episode of Picard is coming in hot. And
is it really soon? Fuck me.
Literally, yes, I'm very excited for tomorrow because I am going to be looking forward to watching this. 25th Century Q has entered the game. He is this month's objective event giveaway. He is also available for free he's not yet. He will be available for free in the portal for you to claim 1 copy and then 3 more stars in the objective event. Psi Command Dip, Voyage rank 203, already tier 7. And yes, Cranky, I have got the wrong art. This isn't the Tom Jones one you sent me, because he does look like a sex bomb. You're not wrong.
So, I'm a little bit sad that... I don't know if I'm sad. I just feel like it's a bit odd, rather. There's a cognitive dissonance. In that Q is the face and the voice of this game. No, he is the person who essentially brings it all together, who introduces you to the game. He is the primary voice of the game. John Delancey was involved in writing the story.
Yeah.
How many good Q variants are there actually in the game? Maybe 2.
Yeah.
Maybe 2.
I mean, some of the super rares are good, for the level, but if you're talking just golds, Q's got isn't half bad. He had a moment. Union Q's got the gauntlet pairs.
Union Q is probably the best gold. Luau Q is there, but he's committed to suck. Marshal France Q actually deserves a big shout out for being a hoss after all this time. Still good and gauntlet, still has lots of collections, but he has a lot of bad variants,
So on a scale of Sheriff of Rottingham Q down here and Q as God up here, where does 25th century Q land on the scale?
Well, we have tiers back, so he's tier 7 currently. That's a good start, isn't it? I think this is the worst objective event crew, or the worst giveaway crew they've done in this format. Do you think?
Actually, that must be worse.
I'll tell you who he ranks pretty similar to.
That doesn't go on too long at all.
Hey man, you put it in there.
I did. Luau is decent. Luau is pretty good. He's not bad. He
is perfectly acceptable.
Is that 2022's aggressively average? He's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, he's perfectly acceptable. He is markedly milquetoast. That's what I'm looking for.
Brilliant. But yes, I would say, definitely I'm struggling to think of any release, because Resistance Burnham was fairly meh, wasn't she? She's nothing special, but still had her bonuses. But I'm thinking this is maybe worse.
No, this is better than Resistance Burnham.
Okay.
Resistance Burnham is what? It's like Federation Starfleet human, resourceful, desperate, really light on traits. Yeah, she's a Burnham, but like Captain Burnham was like an event crew not before often was basically the same but with a better base. Everyone and their mother can retrieve like other Burnhams of their choice. First Officer Burnham is always recommended as the first option taken to behold, even now. Like, I don't know, this she was pretty poor, and she was, as we have been reminded, come on dip suck, who can suck me. This is at least something a little bit different. This is at least a nice big psi base, which is worth something. It is worth something. Not a lot, but it's worth something.
So people are going to say we're in our ivory tower, but oh, this crew sucks, that crew sucks. Folks, let me tell you something. VIP 14 players, they live in the cloud city of Stratos, and you troglodyte cave dwellers down there toiling away with your cave implements, you deserve better. Don't let them take all the good crew away from you and stuff them in six-packs. You deserve great giveaway crew, and you shouldn't settle for this. You should throw your Lieutenant Valeris-themed Sabo boots into the machinery and take back what is rightfully yours. This is not a good card. He's okay in events. Fine, he has bases. Lots of cards have bases. And I think out of the top 10 side bases, all but one have come either in Omega or events. So they're readily available. It's not like you should be
me and Auto were looking at that particular metric when we were doing the video, and we were like, wait, so there's Picard number 1, who is an amazing Voyager. There's Agent Humanoid, who's also an amazing Voyager. There was Dr. Ann Mulhall, not as much, but she's at least like it's a biologist and like was
an event, yeah.
And also a smoke show. And then it's like, JDL, also a smoke show, especially like I feel like he's really grown into that Silver Flock look. But it's like, you can get psi bases relatively easily now. You can retrieve a copy of Picard number 1 quite like over the course of 3 or 4 months and probably have a much better time with him overall.
Just take the geriatric Polestar and the dog Polestar and you've got it.
Q pays Picard an unexpected visit that sets him off on a new path. So that's actually... It's like vague. It's flavor, but by virtue of it being from a show that none of us have seen yet, it's like, ooh, this is actually.
I'm actually okay with it being a bit vague because it's like this is actually advertising. Like, I don't think we've had it to that for a while. Not since like
Picard
Discovery was first coming out.
Picard number 1, I think, was the last one, maybe. Yeah, because that was before the show came out because that was based on the promotional image, wasn't it? And he was a mega.
Oh yeah, you're right.
He was the mega, wasn't he?
Yeah. I keep on forgetting we've never had an actual Picard Mega because
Hello, Ben.
Oh, hey, Ben.
We were just talking about you.
Don't watch the front of the stream. Don't watch it. It'll make you sad. We were just complimenting you on the amazing art.
I'm gonna tag him and send it to him anyway.
Oh God!
Go watch that after the show, Ben. You'll enjoy
Ben,
that.
do you like Muppets?
Yeah, you're gonna hate Kermit. So yeah, we're pretty down.
Okay,
pretty down. But I will give kudos to the art because I mean this is good era of artwork. This is great Q look, and yeah, it's doing a service of making me go, I want to see this Q. I want to see old Q.
I really do hope, like, this is the number one thing I've been waiting for, is, like, I want them to do, I want them to digitally de-age John Delancey just for, like, 3 seconds before he goes, and then it's like, oh, well, I want like this to mock you. I want that so badly. I'm not going to get it, but I want it so fucking
Do you think 25th Century Q, do you think the name itself is a bit of a spoiler? I mean, I know the episode's coming out tomorrow, but I was not aware of
Picard Season 1 took place in 2399. When did you think the next one was going to take place?
Well, I don't know if he was going to be in the past or the future. It's I suppose not. Yeah, maybe not.
Well, because he appears to Picard at the present time at Chateau Picard, so... I'm sorry that your grasp of dates has eluded you here, Idle.
Maybe did a little bit there. Anyway, carry on.
Oh, don't call him Daddy Q. Come on. Don't do that.
No, he's sex bombed.
This card was hard to make. Why was 25th Century Q hard to make?
Yes, give us the lowdown. I'd actually be curious to know that.
Was it trying to round his numbers down enough?
I like how we both came at it from different angles there. That was good. That was a coordinated assault.
What's that? Voyager in triple digits? That's too good. We've got to crank down the power.
No.
Crank.
We've got to put a cap on the energy market of Voyager ranks, and nothing over 200 now.
So here's the first side primary gold Q, which I thought for the longest time just fits. Because how many episodes have been themed around, this race is not omnipotent. They just have better technology than you. So the feats of magic they pull off, Ardra, whatever, there's a sciencey aspect to that. So.
Oh, hang on. Ben's well.
Oh God.
So anyway, it's good to see some good, strong.
No, he's not even well. Actually, he's going for the nuclear option. He's going for first things first.
Should have seen it coming. Change place. When are you getting your glasses, Otto? You said you were going to join me on this.
Oh, I have them, but I don't like them, so I just keep them as a backup.
I don't like these. These are my spares. I hate them. It's fine. I've got my sunglasses on me this time. I'm ready for you.
You want to see my new glasses?
Go on then.
Want to see my new glasses?
Yeah, we want to see your new glasses. We'll do it for podcast listeners as well. We'll explain the in-depth look.
Yeah, you ready?
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
On the edge of your seat? I told you I was going to keep playing that throughout the show.
You sent me a message like the other day and just went mariachi doomsday what was it called? The Doomsday Machine. Yes. He just said, there's a mariachi quartet, and I was like, what? Just went, go look, 20 minutes in.
All right, so Ben's already plugging his stuff. Don't worry, we already plugged your appearances, March 23rd, and then you'll be accompanied by Joe and perhaps a fan favorite WRG employee on April the 3rd. So.
Some kind of WRG anger, I've heard that they are called.
A fan of Rocky Man Stoning.
A WRG feisty.
It's going to turn to Charlie's Angels now, isn't it?
Oh God, don't even. Oh, you know what? Patrick Stewart connection. It's fine.
There you go. What are we talking about?
We have 1,000 other things on the list, so let's keep trucking along.
No, let's keep fucking around.
Tangent? That's my job. All right, yes.
Well, anyway. You know what? Can I actually go off on one tangent?
Go on.
I actually really like the way he's dressed here. Like, this is I don't know if we give enough credit to... I believe her name is Gersha Phillips, the costume designer for all the new Star Trek live-action shows. Wow. If you think of, like, I think first of, like, all of the Vulcan fashion for Discovery Season 2, the way the Telosians were updated in that kind of like 60s look, all of the new like Starfleet uniforms. I really love the new ones for Season 3 and 4. Like, like just so much style going on, and because season 2 is also really hitting on the style, like it's important. I feel, and I feel like they kind of nicely split the difference between what Star Trek Into Darkness was going for, which was like vaguely fascistic with how like they were going for the uniform styles, and this is borderline there, but it isn't. Thankfully, they're keeping it just so that when we probably flip over to the evil alternate future that they might be doing in season 2, we don't know.
So this jacket has this jacket has the same effect of when I saw Matt Smith's Doctor, the 11th Doctor, and he had that fantastic green overall jacket thing, and I went, I have to go and find something like this. And I was wandering on my birthday uptown, and I found something very similar. I was like, yes, I have to have that. And I was like, yeah. And this is kind of having the same effect on me, and I'm looking at that going, why are we here? Yeah, they have the same effect on me. It's just like, I want that jacket. I kind of do.
To be fair, that is a svelte jacket. I would not be unhappy to have the jacket.
All right, 2 complaints, just to, balance out the praise we're heaping. One, it looks like everyone's trying to cover up a hickey. Why is everyone wearing turtlenecks in the future? I don't know.
Turtlenecks
Him and Picard
Archer told us that.
It's like, okay. And number 2,
he did invent the tactile neck.
They got to stop switching uniforms every season. Like, stick to something for more than 24 hours. That's... No.
Yeah, like because they had the 2385 uniforms, the 2399 uniforms, and this will be the 2401 uniforms. Like, there's a common link between them. They don't look too different, but
it's
especially to a trained eye, it's like, guys, stop changing it.
It's keeping someone employed. I'm happy with that. Gobot says, I may be in the minority. I like the original Discovery uniforms, other than it was impossible to tell anyone's ranks. It is still impossible to tell anyone's rank on the new Discovery because they put them on the comm badge now, and it's really impossible to see. But yeah, I like the original Discovery uniforms. I thought they were quite cool. A nice update
I
to Enterprise ones.
Good,
yeah. We need to start fashion Trek talk or something like that, just to talk about all the different... I could do that.
I could do that.
I will watch from the sidelines on that one, I think.
Were you a part of Art Trek? Did you enjoy that?
Turn to the left.
Art Trek was... We might have a shy run-in for Fashion Trek. All right, folks, we got to keep it moving. We have so much stuff to talk about. And up next, something you're not going to believe. It's been the hot topic here and there. And we're going to drop some very interesting discussion about...
Fucking damn it. Asshole, I can't believe it.
You may have noticed there's a new button in your daily menu, and go on.
That's very James Bondy at the end, by the way.
Isn't it?
Yeah, no, like kind of that
minus sixth sort of chord is very nice. Yes, you may have noticed a new button in your dailies, but lo and behold, it's flashing yellow. But don't press it. Many people have, because although you can try and claim it will claim you. Yes, the Quantum Pass is now...
What is this episode entitled?
You Shall Not Quantum Pass. And I would just like to point out, while you're here, Ben, just look at this piece of user interface and try and spot the problem, because I have things where the eyes go and my fingers will follow that I don't like. Because we have one that's buy now that isn't highlighted and one that's just straight up $4.99 you can see on the screen. And that kind of just irks me a little bit. Have you tried pressing it multiple times? No, I got banned last time I did that.
We don't talk about that.
Guys, Quantum Pass, what do we think about this new feature to the game?
There's I just put up a poll up in chat, and you guys let us know. Are you buying it? Are you not buying it? Are you a little tempted maybe if they lower the cost? Are you not tempted at all? I think pretty much across the board. Well, so people are obviously going to compare it first to the dilithium pass, or the dilithium card, because that, it's a similar drip feed each day, and those sort of the campaign, the deal card, if they spread it out over a long period, they usually give you a little better value for your money than a big purchase up front. And this is kind of not that. You can compare it to like the $10 offer for the crew, the one time, the 1 star on a crew with credits and crons, and it sort of stacks up well to that because you get to choose your crew, but it's not as economical as the long-term, the other daily drips. So I think almost
the daily drips, huh? You're reaching that period of middle age.
Yeah, you could call this show the weekly drips. That's what we are. So, Yeah, I think most people think that because it's so easy to compare it to the monthly card, it's not as good as that. So is it worth it? Is it not worth it? I don't know. You tell me.
I think my number one problem with this would be like trying to maintain the credit flow for that, like to keep up with the amount of like quantum that you're.
You have a hard time
getting,
keeping it up at your age, huh, Stars?
Well,
two can play
Brody's
that game, buddy. Yeah,
Brody's
that's
had
right.
no complaints so far, but I mean,
Okay, I don't want to hear about your love life.
Yeah, see, there you go. You don't want to play this game with me.
I'm jealous of him. What can I say?
We'll say
Love Line Talks Wednesday night.
Yeah, we watched 3 episodes of Clone Wars and then cuddled. It's real romantic. To be fair, it actually is, but whatever. So I don't know. I like the value proposition. I like the idea of it because finishing crew through retrieval is immensely satisfying. You get to pick a crew that you can just finish. And if you had told me that like 2 years ago, I would have said, that's crazy, get out of here. Also, what are the lotto numbers? And it's just like, I do love the idea of you get to serve your own gourmet crew. You get to finish them off and do whatever you like, or start a new one from fresh that you otherwise wouldn't be able to get because you have to fish through 100 beholds. But for me personally, it's like, yeah, I don't know if I'd be able to maintain a credit flow to keep that going for, because it does massively increase your quantum intake, and if you don't have the credits to keep that going, then it'd be like the last thing you want to do is buy a quantum pass and then you're sitting on full for a while. I can't imagine like a more depressing idea. So I think the idea is that you're meant to be buying these 25 million credit deals that they've been throwing out here and there.
Yeah, it's an interesting balance, and it kind of leaves more credence to what Ben was saying back when crew retrieval first came out and about the whole game economy thing and sort of balancing sort of like the quantum, and it's it's where they want to sort of force the monetization of this kind of things and get people to go, oh, I'll get that. More quantum means more crew quickly, but then I'm run out of credits, so I'll need to buy more credits or
credits.
The pesky wabbit.
Get some of them magnificent crystals.
Yes. Yeah, it's I am tempted, but because collection fiend that I am, I want to get crew quicker, and I'm not short of credits because I have 86 million of them. I've got nothing else to spend them on other than retrieval.
Kill the bourgeoisie, take them down.
So
redistribute the wealth.
I'm not the best person to talk objectively about this because I think I could buy it and I could sustain it for quite some time, but I know a lot of players don't. I know a lot of players spend their credits quite regularly on pulling 90k packs, or they'll do it for equipping crew, spending it on galaxy events. There's plenty of places to sink it, or they'll do the dilithium speed up, for your daily month, if it's your daily monthly card. I thought I was saying that a bit weird then. And using your 90 dilithium speed up on there, and that already drains them quite quick anyway. So then adding another speed up for more cash sort of seems like it's a bit much. I think I wouldn't have minded if it was the same price but month long. I think that might have been a different value proposition.
Well, that would literally be triple the value. So, if that's a price point you're okay with, then what you're getting is 1/3 of that value. So, I hope Ben has us muted. Last Q&A, he came on and was asked the question, quote, will we see quantum available from any other sources within the next year, end quote. And he said, quote, no, end quote. So...
No, you're misquoting him. It is long pause, no.
Yes, and we'll get into that in the Q&A, and you have the upfront, the warning of, look, plans change, and he tries to give us the most direct answers he can without waffling, but then that also ends up in them backtracking and going back on things. So we'll hash that out in the Q&A, but
does this
want to put that out there?
Maybe quantum turning up in campaigns? Like, is there a plus side to this? If they're willing to change and sell it, does it mean they're willing to put it in events? Does it mean they're going to put it in campaigns?
Hold on, but before we unpack that for podcast listeners, we'll be buying the Quantum Pass. 5% say yes each month, 10% say yes once in a while, 25% say no, it's too expensive, 60% say no, not ever.
Not ever.
Not ever.
So
I think I'm kind of surprised that it's that low. I would have figured this would appeal to more people, but maybe retrieval isn't as popular as it used to be.
I think
maybe everyone's
kind of
it's become part of the infrastructure, and everyone's like, I can retrieve at my own pace.
Like before the Quantum Pass got announced, I was saying, right, I'm using my monthly card, or I'm just using whatever dilithium I have, and I'm just speeding up. And I was quite happy. I think it's like a crew every 2 weeks, and I'm quite happy with that rate. Maybe there's like an optimal satisfaction that maybe I'm getting crew too fast, or I don't know. Is that a thing? Like, again, I'm not the right person to talk to this. I'm on the different equation.
If your optimal satisfaction lasts longer than 4 hours, you should consult a doctor.
I should, yes.
All right, I want to read a few comments from chat here.
Please.
It feels very predatory. I think that's talking about the fact that the button is highlighted in yellow, which a lot of people complained about.
Yeah, bring it back up on screen.
I already need to see to get the necessary credits together to retrieve when quantum fills up, so I'm not going to put in more money for it.
Yeah.
I think the place they put it says, we want to trick you, and it's wrong in my book. I personally agree with that one. Actually, because when I went to look for it, first I thought, okay, it'll probably be in the dilithium panel next to the monthly card, right? Because that's a purchase and it's a monthly thing. No, it wasn't there. I went to crew retrieval. Nope, couldn't find it there. And then I'm like, well, I'll find it later. And then I went to do my dailies. I'm like, oh, there it is.
Can't miss it.
It does. Yeah, it seems like they put it in the most trafficked spot.
His thing that makes me laugh
already
as well.
Spending.
Sorry, just a very quick interruption. It's like it offers VIP points. I think most of the people that probably would take this, thinking I really want to speed up and have got the credits to afford it, are probably well beyond VIP 14. So like, we're offering you VIP points. Well, okay.
Well, that doesn't mean you get a token amount of dilithium along with that too.
True.
So, reading along chat comments, I'm already spending more on this game than I want, so I'm not looking to spend more. With the current crew I can retrieve, I can finish them around the next portal update. But then at least I can say I have all the portal crew immortalized. It's right next to the monthly deal card. Why does it have a different color and size?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Someone disagrees with stars. There's basically nothing thrilling about finishing a crew through retrieval, whereas I found the 5th star for an old Uhura today and was ecstatic through
like saying, I don't like giving £5, but I prefer finding it under the couch.
That's I don't. I'm not going to engage with that one. I have nothing to say that would be complimentary. No, I'm kidding.
Well,
I'm kidding.
no,
I mean, I get it. There is a certain joy to a random finishing of a crew that you thought would hang around your crew quarters for another half a year being unfinished. Especially if they're a crappy one, you can just get that crew slot free. But I don't know. Am I really in the minority of finding the idea of?
Am I out of touch? No, it's the chat that's wrong.
Guess what? Most of the time it is. Like, am I the only one? Like, who actually finds it, like, satisfying to try and calculate your optimal crew to, like, I don't know, maybe I'm weird because I used to work on a big book of stats and stuff like that, and I found that kind of stuff fascinating. But does no one else find that fun to kind of try and calculate your optimal choice for retrieval?
You are talking to the right person here. You know us. You, me, and Otto are absolutely designed to do that.
Idle finishes them right before opening 100 packs. That's how much he enjoys doing it.
That won't
backfire at all, will it? Anyway, enough about me.
So I will say I disagree in a sense. I like looking, cross-referencing collections, or maybe if there's if some crew I miss in a 6-pack comes up, I'm going to try to target them. I do have fun looking through that, but the last star is a unenjoyable experience for me in a way, because I know whenever I see that card in the future now, it's going to be part of a Frozen Behold, and it's going to be negative value. If I had waited, I could have gotten it for free. I could have retrieved somewhere else. So until they fix the Frozen Behold issue, it's going to be just a drag adding that last star, because it's like, now I'm adding another chance to get all Frozen Behold, and on a be gold, that's a lot of investment for some players, and getting a dud out of that is a huge loss.
Theoretical question. What would be an acceptable currency amount, any currency in the game, to refresh an all Frozen Begold? So you get those 5 stars all in one. What little button at the bottom says refresh?
Actually, let me pull that one, because that's a good question.
I'm going to go out of my limb here, and I'm going to say your first one should be free.
I like that.
Yeah. Your first one should be free, and then if you do it more than, say, like once a week, maybe it escalates to, I don't know,
or maybe per that behold,
dilithium?
maybe in that
1,000 dilithium, yeah.
Or, I think, I don't know, maybe like if you have the first one, you get that behold, it pops up, you have like, oh, my free refresh, and then on that one it charges something afterwards, or maybe, and then when you get another begold that's all frozen, you get a chance to re-roll it again, or any begold. It could be any choices you look at and kind of go, no, I don't want any of those. You could just refresh, have the free one, and then a charge. But yeah,
Well, I don't know. I think that like 1,000. That's what, like a pack pull and a half. Oof. A pack pull and a half, and you're already guaranteeing you. Like that's the thing. If your first one is free, then you get to do the value calculation in your head. True. You get to go, well, I can refresh it once.
Pull up and shit.
Your chances of getting an old frozen behold, unless you're a real like devotee, are low to get it like twice in a row. So most of the time you wouldn't need that 1,000 unless you pull like a ton of packs and you end up needing to re-roll multiple times. But even like the last time you did like a big pack pull, how many all frozen begolds did you get? Do you remember?
Oh gosh, I think I had about 4 or 5. Like when I think I did something like 100 pulls or something like that, I got about 4 or 5 all frozen, or maybe less than that. I think.
Out of how many begolds do you remember?
Oh, I can't remember. Probably 35-ish, something like that. If I was pulling 100, I get maybe. I can't remember. I might be overestimating.
We really are living.
Yeah,
we really are living in the ivory tower. The three of us having this conversation is gonna.
Well, yeah. But here's
How much
the thing,
port
right?
did you drink last night, dear chap? Oh well, I rather had the 4 bottles in 1975. Don't you think? Oh,
I had the 7s. Bring me the 47. Yes.
Classic.
But let's say you're in that situation Idle was in, right, where you're pulling all these packs and you get like 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 all frozen begolds, and you re-roll it. And it's like the first one's free, and then the second time around you have to go, okay, 1,000. Maybe it escalates, or maybe it's the same each time. It's like 5,000 dill for 5, 3 or 4, whatever, like a guaranteed rerolls. I don't think that's too awful, considering how far does dilithium actually get you in this game? If you've ever dealt into a 6-pack, you know it ain't far. If you dive into repacks, you also know it ain't fucking far. Do you think, anytime you want something, it never gets you anywhere.
Do you think, though, for WRG, who like the impulse spenders, for anyone that runs a mobile game, they want the people to go, oh, buy this dilithium now. Like, having a facet of people that are saving dilithium for a bad reroll are maybe not their intended audience. Or not their intended spenders. That's a quality of life fix for people that maybe do already spend, but it doesn't help them getting the instant spenders. I don't know. Oops.
First one is free. That's how they get you hooked.
Exactly, yeah.
It's kind of hard to price this because big-time whales who get an all frozen behold a good portion of the time, it kind of doesn't make sense to re-roll because you might re-roll into a re-roll into a re-roll before you find one you want. But players who maybe been playing for a few years and they don't spend very much, maybe they're VIP 7 or 8 or something like that, and over a few years, that's like a reasonable level to be at. I can see them using the system a lot more because the odds of you re-rolling into another frozen one are very low. So it's a pretty good get out of jail card. I mean, if you're asking me out of those choices, I would say 1,000 because it's the difference between 550 honor or a usable gold crew.
Yeah.
I mean, think about these birthday beholds and what they price them at, and you have a good number of people going for it at 1,500 or the mixed rarity 1,300.
I considered that, yeah. Considering the birthday behold, you're actually kind of
getting WRG shells now, aren't you?
No, I mean, I would not use it very often, but if.
Well, yeah, no, this goes all with the proviso that, that's probably what they would price it as. I'd probably never buy it. Like, I would go for my first one, and if my second one was another all frozen begold, I'd be like, oh well.
It comes with the idea that the first one's free and then the second one's the price. If the first one's free, I've got no qualms with like, the second one being any price because if I don't get it on the first roll,
well, that's the thing, isn't it? Because that feels like a nice meat in the middle. If the first one is free, then no one can. I feel obviously you can have a conversation about predatory monetization in a mobile game. You can have that conversation for hours. We have had that conversation for hours, but at least having the first one for free means that, especially people who are like VIP, especially if you're playing this game, right, and you get through the tutorial and they give you like that 10 times premium pack, and some people get really lucky and they get a legendary. And can you imagine if you were playing this game and you got some real fucking garbage? Imagine you got like Admiral Cartwright, Mirror Aaron Landry, and Mirror Sulu, right? And you're like, well, this is my goal to get me through the early game, right? It's like being able to hit that reroll button at least once for free. That's gonna make a big difference. That's the difference between like someone potentially being like, you know what, fuck this. Or
if
no.
they're new, they'll get Gary 7, Braxton, and Picard number 1, and then they'll re-roll it because they don't like because they
you can lead a horse to water.
Braxton.
Okay, so they need to just borrow the skirmish loot box mechanic. First one's free. Second one is 100 dill, then 200, then 500.
Yeah.
That's fine. It's an escalating cost. It's reasonable. You're going to make more money out of it than you are currently. So,
yeah, because that is actually the dimension to consider. Is no matter what you price it as, provided you actually include the mechanic and give people the opportunity to spend more money, they will.
Now, what if
podcast listeners, max amount of dilithium you would spend to refresh an All Frozen Behold, over half the participants, respondents, say 300 dilithium, and a third say 500 dilithium. So it's somewhat low price point, but I think most people would rather have that than no reroll at all.
Yeah, exactly.
What if, just to cap the conversation off and move on, because we've diverted quite suddenly, what if they actually used the most important currency in the game to reroll, the one that everyone uses all the time, and use ISM? Because I've got a lot of ISM sitting there.
I would pay 2 million ISM per reroll.
Yeah,
you know what?
I probably would as well.
You want to talk about fucking Ivory Tower? I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I have no intention of ever retrieving Breen Kira because she's not popular on my thing. She's utterly replaceable. I went into the fucking Celestial Marketplace and I bought a Breen Polestar just because I could and I had the ISM to do it. Because fuck it.
Don't need
what else am I going to spend it on?
Love it.
Yeah, so I'm in full agreement with Eric Nelson in chat, who says, I would take any cost at all. It's voluntary after all, and right now we don't have the option.
Yeah.
So
Open the dialogue first.
Although, you know, if they end up making it like 5,000 or something, that just means, hey, we hear your complaint, and fuck you! So
and do one!
Yeah. Speaking of doing one, we nearly got done. We very nearly got done. But luckily, a stat boost.
Hold on. Let me.
Press the button.
You almost ruined it. Let me pull it back.
All right.
Because Kal'Hyah Worf came out and he was hot garbage, and we recorded the Big Book video. Stars was in tears by the time we were done.
It was hard to edit. It really was. Like, it was such a raw emotion.
Something incredible happened, and you guys won't believe it.
Amazing.
I can't even hear the trigger, so I don't know what ends. So, yeah, Kal'Hyah Worf.
Kal'Hyah Worf is in and out of the Honor Hall. No one ever expects the Kal'Hyah Worf Inquisition to turn up in the Honor Hall at random times, but he is there. Has had a bit of a boost since his debut introduction, is now actually semi-respectable. Stars, go on. You know you're itching at the bit to elaborate on your Big Book video.
So yeah, we recorded that initial Big Book video, and I was like, you know what, this makes me sad. This actually just makes me sad to think about the fact that of all the crew they had to put in the Honor Hall, it had to be a Worf, and he had to be fucking garbage. And he had to be a rare skill set, which is exactly the kind of crew I like to collect.
I can't imagine a favorite crew of mine having a rare skill set and debuting beneath rank 200. And surely they would never fix a crew like that, right? They would never make them good for you to enjoy. Not salty. Well,
you know what the problem is, Otto, is that people like me. So.
Oh.
You're not wrong.
I love you. Okay. Good thing got a little real there for a moment. So yeah, it was pretty depressing, honestly, because it was like fucking 4 traits. Voyage ranking, the 240s? What? It just literally begged the question of why would you do this? Why did you shoot yourself in the foot with a shotgun? And then, somehow, I really don't want to give us credit. I don't want to give us credit on this because I feel like that is like tooting our own horn. But it is very suspicious that he got given almost exactly the same traits you suggested in either the trait audit or in our video.
WRG does not pick favourites of you three. No, not us three. Just stars.
Yeah.
Not us.
Yeah. Yeah, Idle hasn't gotten another Mae Jemison that's usable on a voyage yet. So
Give me
that's...
transport
All right.
to Mae Jemison, I'm there.
Pull up in chat, folks. You let me know if there's an Honor Hall collection coming, because that's something that's been bandied about left and right, and it's an interesting idea. In preparation for his wedding with Jadzia, Worf and his friends undergo the trials of Kal'Hyah.
Well,
so this is a much better crew. This is a crew that I actually want. I have 5 crew slots free at the moment, and I am very sorely tempted to spend 100,000 of my well-earned honor to just have him at 1 out of 5, just to have him, because he is... It's the art more than anything else. Like, the art is absolutely gorgeous. They've been knocking it out of the park after that unfortunate orange phase, which we've thankfully phased out of. And it's just like, wow, what a difference like a few tweaks to some stats makes, really. It's I almost have to wonder if we're going to be having the same conversation about 25th Century Q in a week. But like Sec, come on, Med, that's my heroine, man. That's exactly what I need.
Well,
Put it into my veins.
a yes and a but. How useful do we find med tertiaries? Really?
Well, to be fair, most people who are trying to run a 12-hour voyage are going to have most success with a command sec voyage or a command dip or one of those permutations. And what tends to kill a voyage? Either it's going to be a case of just pure bad luck, or it's a case of some of your tertiaries aren't quite up to snuff. So a med tertiary can be quite useful, and he does ride on a few seats that otherwise are a little bit trickier to fill than others.
Do we need to have another... Do we need to be graced by the presence of one Sir Kermit the Frog to remind us how much a med kicker can help against the clouds, the hordes of command dipsuck? It does make a difference. Not only is it better seating, less competition, but the med skill has such a tiny pool of antimatter traits that they pop up way more frequently, and that really helps your antimatter chances. So I mean, I don't want to get too spreadsheety, but it does help big time, even in tertiaries. So it is nice. Plus, he was 12 for 12 with command dipsec variants to start timelines. So give me anything else. I don't care if it's tertiary. I don't care if they invent a 7th skill. Just give me something other than command dipsec.
Oh yeah, give us a 7th skill. Really fuck up my day. That'd be good.
Oh yeah, fairy type. There we go. We'll add fairy type to the game.
Yes.
/
Dragon /dark. Yeah.
If only there was some way we could play these crew against each other and have their traits matter.
If only. And now you talk.
Now, yeah.
Okay, so I'm afraid I ran this poll too long, which, by the way, is neck and neck right now. I think half the people are expecting a on-haul collection, half aren't.
That's like impossible. That's worse than Gauntlet. You have to spend stuff for that. Like Voyage collection, Voyage exclusive collection. Let's do that instead. Yes, please. What would the 7th skill be? I think Con. From Star Trek
I'd
Adventures.
rather have an honor hall collection than a Voyage exclusive collection, but that's just me. At least then you can target it exactly whenever you want, however you want it. You know what it takes to finish it.
You know what the 7th skill
having
would
your
be
voyage stuck or whatever is a
true.
So Chakotay, the 7 skill monster.
Yeah, no, exactly. Everyone just like grows a 7th. Like, oh wow, crazy.
Command dip Neelix.
All right, so because I ran the poll too long, before we move on, chat, you tell me, are you guys buying Kal'Hyah Worf? I know a lot of people have said it's compulsory. I have to get the new Honor Hall crew no matter what they're like, and people are sad he was awful, but it didn't matter. They're going to get him anyways, so yeah.
Got to get the new iPhone. Have to have the hot shit.
So, Agent Danielle says, let me throw a name out there, Mountain Climber Mayweather. He's Command Primary Mid Tertiary 2. What do you think of him, and against Worf, how does he stack up? Now, the main problem with Mountain Climber Mayweather is that he is in an almost
he's a Mayweather.
Place. Well, that's the other problem. The problem of being Mayweather is you have to be Mayweather. That's the worst thing.
At least we're not playing 20 questions this time.
Dude, that's an all-time great moment in the show.
Never gonna top it. He has what? Human Starfleet Athlete Explorer, I think that's it. Oh no, Human Athlete Pilot, I think that's all he's got.
Boomer. He had Boomer until they took it away.
Boomer?
Okay, Boomer.
And like that, even though with that skill set, like, and even though he's not aged the worst, he's starting to get up there in age. We'd probably do a refresh, actually, now that I think about it. You need antimatter traits if you're going to leverage that skill set into something usable on voyages, and he just did not have them. Like, Athlete, Athlete doesn't appear on them as far as I know. Human Starfleet does, but there's going to be way better voyages. And Pilot, Command Eng, is Braxton's thing. That is his thing.
Pull up in chat, folks.
We need a refresh of the voyage traits, because there's so many more traits that have come out that are not there. And just like, it's something that's so antiquated that, like, if they just said an overhaul and said, like, we're just redoing all these traits here and there and there, and everyone would be like, actually, this changes the game for a lot of crew that maybe were a little bit more useless, or maybe, put, I don't know if this is a thing, but maybe put spiritual on one of the med seats or something like that. That gives Kal'Hyah Worf a huge boost, definitely.
I could definitely see that being, especially because there's they've done a few little like tweaks here and there to rectify it. Stuff like Hunter and Romulan, which for the longest time had absolute shit garbage for put like your purple loss on your otherwise gold voyage to get that Hunter antimatter seat. Yeah, no, I don't think so, mate.
I'm totally. But they've been taking. Well, no,
why?
You have to. It's the same with skill sets. You have to have bad to recognize the good. Like. So what would it mean if tomorrow they release a top 10 Voyager who was a Romulan and a Hunter? If you cared about voyages, you would back up the truck for that. That would be very important. It would be rare. It would be special. It would be something like, do we need another Humans Federation Starfleet to fill our animator seats? No, but we need new.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I'm not opposed to them rejiggering the seats, but if they're going to keep them as is, that does add value to those niche crew, which I enjoy.
It does, but it is also a case you have to keep in mind that for the longest time they weren't adding crew that were like that. Like, you can't add value by giving them like these traits to voyage-capable crew when they kept on refusing to add them. Like, I think for the longest time, what was the best voyage-capable Romulan crew was like disguised. Well, before him was disguised. And then Commodore O was like what, Voyage 120 when she debuted. Like,
but we just had Laris, and that kicked her up an extra notch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it does help. It's like I'm not saying like release them all the time, but a more steady pace than once every 3 years would be nice. Because how many Voyage viable hunters are there? There's what, 2?
Well,
including
4 if you include all of my dupes. Yeah, so there's 4 right there. All right.
Moving on. What do you want to wait for the poll to end and then you can do that?
And now we'll swing back to it later. Let's talk about this campaign. Because I do want to shout it out.
Definitely do. The campaign currently running is for recent crew in the Tribble Uhura, and Alan of Dale, long-standing Geordie LaForge variant. Guys, how do we feel about Uhura after a bit of time has passed since that voyage rank is not right? That's Keyla Terrana.
The entire stat block is entirely wrong.
Something's gone horribly wrong there. Hang on a minute. I've got to work out.
Hold on. Before we dig into Tribble Uhura, I want to read from the announcement for the Shaping History campaign, because there was a little bit of talk about that in the forums, and it's been a long time to my memory that they've actually put effort into a campaign announcement. So let me read this out. Uhura and LaForge
think of each other.
Yeah, Uhura and LaForge both had impactful roles in Star Trek, but the actors' influence boldly went further than that. Both shaped history in their own way. Nichelle Nichols in her partnership with NASA to open the doors for a new generation of astronauts and scientists. LeVar Burton with his dedication towards storytelling and children's education. That's a campaign.
That's a campaign. Definitely.
That's an actual campaign. Well done.
It's themed well. It's a good message, and you actually put in the reasoning behind it. I love that.
No, definitely.
And guess what? It's almost like it's appropriate for a Star Trek game to celebrate these kind of things.
100%.
Maybe not so much they pay money for it, but that's fine.
Definitely considering the cultural impact that Nichelle Nichols and LeVar Burton have had in not just the game but in society in the whole. Like, yeah, absolutely, 100%. This is a great. They can run this one again next year. I wouldn't care. Actually, no, don't do that. But how about Tribble?
Don't worry, we'll have another 3 Command Dipsec Tribble Uhuras by that point. She only ate them against Command Dipsec. I feel worse for her than I do for Worf at this point.
Well, here's the question. Like, she was released not that long ago, and I think we were pretty favourably on, she was pretty favourable, but enough time has passed. I don't know how much she's dropped, but Voyage rank 72. We've had a lot more Command IPSec since her debut. How do we feel about her now?
So I have somehow managed to get almost all of the gold Uhuras because they keep putting them in campaigns and in megas. Like, I've got Lieutenant Commander Uhura, I've got Marksman Uhura I got from recaps, and I've got this one that'll be finished today. And it's like, they're decent voyages, and they do get work, especially if you don't tend to go in for the real power Command IPSec crew like Fencing Picard or Admiral Mark Jameson. They get work, and they hit that. The fact that she's got Communicator and stuff like that consistently does give her value now that that collection is a thing. But there's nothing elite about her. I mean, this one's a bit more unique than others because Tribble did such a hard collection to complete. Mm-hmm. That is a notch in her belt.
Well, there's one thing you guys haven't mentioned yet, and kind of ties the card together. It's a pretty unique offering that no one has. That is.
I literally didn't even have to look. I knew.
It gets me every time.
Sorry, that's the last time I'm going to do it, I promise. Uhura buys a Tribble from intergalactic trader. That's not even grammatically correct. That's awful flavor text. That's some of the worst in the game. It's like 5 words long, and it's missing a word. All right.
How did we miss that when we were... Because we were ragging on all the Tribble flavor text for a while because of Evoke Feelings Affection.
Uhura buys a Tribble from intergalactic trader.
The problem was Tribble Sato, when she released, just was so outrageous it just made us forget about everyone else.
Many Tribbles give Sulu rest and comfort.
So right now the global boost from collections, if you guys are looking at spreadsheets or Big Book or whatever, if you're looking at something that uses the maximum amount of obtainable boosts, they're actually quite in favor of Command IPSec. So she's on the wrong side of where the boosts currently have her. Plus bad skill set. So she has reasonable antimatter chances, but this is not really a Voyager. You're getting her because of the 3 collections and because she'll do well in events when she gets a bonus. So actually you're getting her because there's good value in a campaign otherwise. But, if you already have her, that's what she's good for, essentially.
I love the art, though. The art is fantastic.
Oh, yeah, it's adorable.
Good art.
It's very, very good.
She loves that Tribble. How about the other crew in this campaign? Alan not O'Dale. This is not the bloody. It's not.
Alan
He's Irish.
That's Alan O'Dale. Super rare crew. DipSec engineer.
I hear you're racist now, Alan.
Dam's going to come swing beer any minute, and cold as well. So what the fuck you think you're doing?
I'm quoting Father Ted. It's the touchstone of Irish culture. What more could they
think
need?
You can fucking come here. Right, anyway. Alan O'Dale. Guys, this is I've been very favourable to this crew ever since I saw he was rated tier 2 back in the Big Book when I used to read it before I knew you guys, and I go, these guys are so intelligent, I should pick up this crew. They're smart. And yeah, this is great art, and it's a good card for there we go, Colt here.
This We're is the space Irish.
One of my favourite 3 crew that are sitting on rocks, along with Trill Burnham and Evolve Janeway.
Hold on, what about Gorn Captain who's throwing a rock? Does he get grandfathered into the rock collection? But what if you call it rock and roll? And you can get the variant from the Man Trap.
I don't know, man. This
where
seems
Kirk
like
does like
territory.
A tactical roll and then fires his phaser. I don't know. Something. A props collection. You can get Quiz Bowl Obrist and Alan O'Dale. I don't know. Throw me a lifeline, lads. Come on.
What's the card like? Is it good? Should we be happy we're getting it?
I don't know. You said he was tier 2 a few years ago.
I did. He did. I enjoy game.
I'm kind of stumped he's aged as well as he has. He's still Voyage ranked in 100s. Like, that's actually surprisingly decent. And I know he's got a shit ton of, like, costumed, innovate, and I know the vanity. Well, no, he got the vanity as well.
Oh, yeah, the vanity as well. Yeah,
dude,
forgot about that.
If we legitimately get a rock collection, that's going to be like... We're going to dedicate the whole episode to that.
Yeah, but you've also got to have all the musicians in there. No, you've got to have Adam in there if it's the rock collection.
Yeah, you got to have Yelgren as well.
Yeah. Yes, you do.
Oh, and Tedium Assassin.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's a good one.
Steve, that's Ben turns up, he can write this off as work hours because he's just collecting community feedback.
Meanwhile, everyone that actually sees this rock collection is just going, "What the fuck? Why? Why?
This is the pointing collection."
Yes.
Imagine getting paid to watch Timelines talks. Is that like the best timeline ever? Anyways, he's been around forever, so I think most people either have him or
very happy.
You know,
happy to have him. Would you dupe him? Would you have more? What's Geordie's event chances these days? Like,
not great.
No, he's had like 5 expeditions or something weird. So
and a ton of skirmishes as well. He's not a very faction-heavy crew.
I mean, you would use him because he has several reasonable traits, but you know, don't dupe a random purple. Dupe someone who's really good.
Yeah, dupe someone like Section 31 Giorgio or Roman Cat of Kirk. Not Alan Dale.
I do have a 2 of 5 duplicate Mae Jameson, so that's me.
We all have our flaws.
Hold on, before we move on, I do want to say though that I love LeVar Burton. I love Geordie LaForge. We watched Stars and I watched Insurrection last week to mock up some Timelines Talks Originals crew. And one of the ones we did was cited Geordie when he's down on the Baku planet. He gets his vision back, and it's like, I've never seen a sunrise, at least not like you see it. There's just something so damn wholesome about him. He's on the Mount Rushmore along with Mr. Rogers and Bob Ross, and like he's one of the guys from our childhood and from the next generation's childhood who he's great.
I think it says something about LeVar Burton as a person that even though Geordie as a character can sometimes be kind of skeevy and have like unfortunate storylines with women.
That only had him twice. 3 times? Twice. 3 times?
No, I think 3 times.
You must let them see the fire in your eyes, as Worf says.
Even despite that, because of his innate wholesomeness, I don't think anyone really looks badly upon Geordie. That's because just like LeVar Burton is such a charming actor.
Yeah. And he talks Reg out
You
of
may
the
now
holodeck.
segue.
Yes. I did have a segment. Did I have a segue? No. Well, speaking of crew we wish we had in this game, and talking of...
The Quantum Pass.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. We already did that one.
No. Don't let me keep you in suspense.
Did someone say suspense?
How quick can you type it? Jesus Christ. It's time for some Timelines Talks originals. Not fake crew. Timelines Talks originals. You guys have been hard at work, slaving away.
Hey, they're not fake.
Well, they're what you wish were real. They're what you wish were real in the game.
They're real.
Well, yes. Thank you, Benny. Let's bring up my fake crew fake crew slides, and let's start talking of slightly racist statements we already made with the Irish. Here's Excalibur, Kalis, and the wonderful inclusion of blackface.
Oh boy!
I can think of many reasons they wouldn't introduce this card into the game.
If Disney is going to take us down. If Disney's going to take us down for the Muppet parody anyway, are we going to have this conversation because the video's not going to be available?
Very possible.
I hate to point this out, but with the exception of Worf, I hate to point it out, most Klingons are in kind of blackface.
They are.
Or brown
in the
face.
TOS era, especially.
Like, we have Captain Korkov. I hate to tell you, those guys were not black.
Even in TNG, too, there was quite a lot of that.
Yeah, Robert O'Reilly and... J.G. Hertzler are not black. They are not brown. They are very, very white.
They are, but are they portrayed as... Is there any colouring in their makeup to make them appear darker? I always assumed Martok was very much a paler Klingon.
Well, you get to see what J.G. Hertzler looks like in Far Beyond the Stars, and he is not that dark.
That's true, I suppose.
Are there 3 less qualified people on the planet Earth to have this discussion than the 3 of us?
This is a slightly risky conversation with us, really. Yeah.
Look,
anyway, yes, I realise there's a typo.
I would just say...
Excalibur.
I would just say, if it's in Star Trek, I'd like to see it in game because I love Star Trek, and it's a part of the show. It's a part of Trek. So
yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's the thing. Like it's already been passed. If we were going to get non-brown face crew, we would have not had any of the TOS Klingons. So we've already crossed that Rubicon. Here we are.
Okay.
With Excalibur and Kalis.
Yes,
is that the other Kalis's command proficiency? Because it's very large.
No. So I don't usually like to admit this, but he is based on another super rare crew that is infamous in how good he is.
Wait, you copied another crew's stats and used it as
Disguised
a template for this
Chakotay.
one?
What, me? I would never, right. I would never take Cornwell and turn her into a Culber variant.
Oh,
I forgot about that. We'll come to that. We will be coming to that.
Big damage right there. That's
Across the
That's instant damage. Yeah, give me a guess. Who do you think this is? Who is this reskinned?
GI Chakotay.
No.
I'm running out of Chakotay variants, dude.
I don't know.
Agent Danielle's got it. Yeah, it's Miraflox.
Oh, wow, okay.
So I wanted some gauntlet capability to make him kind of a mirror of Kalis the Unforgettable, but because this is the... So the way they get around it, and the way I was kind of okay with it, is that this is like Kalis, the evil villain of Klingon culture, even though we know that, you know, from like TNG and whatever, that he's not like that, that this is just Kirk's perception of him because he's just kind of racist. Wonderful. That's... Well timed.
They did get it right.
No. So he's literally less three-dimensional. He has 2 skills rather than 3. He has no diplomacy because why would he?
Well, yeah, he was there to fight. Who don't we have in that episode? We don't have Colonel Green yet, do we?
Green, we have, what's her name? The evil villain with the eyebrows that stretch into infinity.
Christ.
And then, of course, we'll probably never get original Serac, I think, because of rights issues. And then you could get that Kirk and Spock variant, but we have Abraham Lincoln and
Yannick.
Yarnik, so...
But yeah, there he is, Kalis, the evil in his all his, you know.
He also does this.
Yeah, sorry.
He does this cool little thing where he mimics the voices of the good guys to try to lure them into an ambush. So I don't think there's a trait necessarily that covers that. Maybe resourceful, but
maybe Hunter could have been justified. I feel like maybe I could have justified that.
Because probably every Klingon.
Is he the one who kills Serac? Is he the one who kills Serac?
It was probably a group effort. They're like, all right, everyone grab a stone. We'll take turns on this guy. Okay, that got dark. Can we move on, please?
Yeah, let's move on. Okay. This is a great episode. Sim Tucker.
If he was a president, he'd be Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, dude.
Fuck's sake.
Not Sim Tucker, though.
If he was he'd be Baby Majora. Sorry.
Can I give you guys credit? Can I get back on top of you fuckers? Can I give you guys credit for making someone with a clone trait a good Voyager? Because I don't think we see that often.
Right? Like, I figured that it was time for a decent clone, actually.
So we'll talk about this later, but Taurik, who is the event purple for next week's event, he's the first warp theorist in like 2 years. I think Traveler Vestley was the last one. So it's really nice when they suddenly remember that they have a trait and bring a crew into the game. So I noticed that too. I like the clone trait.
Yeah, and we still don't have a good Tucker variant. We still don't. I'm kind of sad because Tucker Trip is arguably one of the best parts of Enterprise, and watching the if you guys haven't already, I know you guys have, but our audience, if you haven't watched the Shuttlepod 1 table read and the accompanying podcast, it is so good.
I still need to listen to podcast, but I've listened to the table read, and honestly, it's Connor Trenier and Dominic
Keating.
Thank you.
Anthony Montgomery.
Unfortunately not. But they fall so much into their characters, don't they? They literally start reading, and I'm like, your guys' voices have not aged a day, and even they're still looking good for the part. Like, it's crazy. Like they literally
even Dominic years and they could just slip right into it.
Dominic was doing the hypothermia shivers as he was reading it. Yeah. He was like really into it.
But like even like, you know, they haven't acted that episode in like about 20 years or so and more, and like they just fell straight back into it, and they were doing the intonations and everything. They remember the characters. It's guys, go and look up Shuttlepod 1 and listen to it. It's fantastic.
Well, they had said that it was one of those episodes that, I don't know if grueling is the right word, but they were basically locked in that little set. They even said they were locked in. Like if you had to go to the restroom, you did it beforehand, and then they would lock you in, and because there wasn't a lot of room for the cameras and stuff, and it was just them two doing some, damn near method acting. I'm sure it wasn't, freezing, but it was pretty close. So you get to know someone when you're an inch away from them all day for a while.
Yeah, no, it's one of the few times where Reed gets to really show some character development and grow. And I kind of wish there'd been more episodes like Shutterpod 1 and less like most of Enterprise Season 1 and 2. But anyway, Sim Tucker, right. I like Similitude.
We're gonna fight later on that one.
That's fine. I'll have that fight.
Link in chat to their website. Go check it out.
Yeah, so Similitude is a much more interesting episode than what is it, Dear Doctor? The other big ethical dilemma medical Enterprise episode with the two races that Phlox commits genocide on.
Are you sure that wasn't Mass Effect and that was the genophage?
No. I'm pretty sure it was Dear Doctor. It's the one where it has a really bad understanding of evolution, as Star Trek always does, and Phlox is like, well, I can't, correct this thing, and the Venk.
God, no. That one's gone from my memory.
You need to watch Enterprise,
I
bro.
do.
You need to rewatch it. You watched Taz, for God's sake.
I did.
Yeah, I quite like Similitude, and it really lets Connor Trinity kind of show off his actual acting skills. And I feel like Sim Tucker would be a decent variant. And yes, he would count because he's a genetic clone. I feel like he is enough like Trip that he would count as a variant of Trip.
But Shinzon is not a Picard variant.
Yeah, but he's Tom Hardy, so it's different.
Got you there.
It's Tom Hardy, so it's different.
Okay.
Same actor, same thing.
Who else is a clone in the game? Are there any others?
All the Vorta, Kalis.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. The Wayuns all count as variants of Wayun. Suck it.
They should be different. They should. I don't agree with that. They should all be Jeffrey Combs variants, along with Shran and Penk.
Yeah, Jeffrey Combs, the one true Star Trek character. But yeah, that's him. I wanted him to be good. I would like Sim's a good trip to have on my voyages.
I think there's that episode. I forget the exact name. I want to say Course Oblivion from Voyager, where it takes place, I guess, a few episodes or maybe a season after they beam down on the planet, find this biomimetic goop that can copy them, and they leave them behind or whatever. And then it turns out they had built this entire ship of Voyager. They recreated it, and they forgot who they really were. So they thought they were Voyager going to home. Turns out they start to break down as bad copies of the crew. And that's a really heart-wrenching episode because, spoiler alert, but right at the end, they put out a distress call to be saved, and Voyager gets there seconds after they have disintegrated into goop, and it's like everyone's going to forget theirs. I always hate the ones where they built this great story, and they have their own culture, they're a people, and then time just gets overwritten, and all that gets, goes to waste. I hate those. I'm like, no, don't forget them. They were a people. Anyways, I'm getting too much into this. Yeah.
All right, next one. I love you picked this one. Deputy Alexander. This is the best we don't give a fuck Star Trek episode ever, because they don't care about anything in this one. It's brilliant.
I love A Fistful of Days. It's so stupid. I think one of my favorite moments is when
the best day of his life.
Oh yeah, it's when he's in engineering and he gets up off the chair after being connected off the main computer and he's walking like a cowboy. It's so fucking stupid.
By the way, Ben, if you're watching, give Sheriff Worf the jury rigger trait because he turned his comm badge into a force field. Who does that? Come on.
That's true.
Yeah, no, people who say that Worf isn't smart, watch that episode. So, I wanted, I figured we don't always want to print golds and purples as much as I would like to make every crew, mega awesome, credible, great. You gotta throw a few duffers in there, you gotta throw a few, I would use this crew and, new crew for new starters. So, you get he's a constable, he is prisoner, he is costumed, he is a holodeck enthusiast, which is one of those, I think he'd be the only blue in that collection, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they're all purple and gold. And we did just have a gold Alexander variant, so...
I mean, to be fair, there's not that many of them we could get, really.
Mudbath Alexander?
Mudbath, yeah. You know what? Laughing Hour Alexander would be pretty wholesome. I think
we could get one with the like weird floating head ball thing from
the one where he's in the Battle tournament with Kumtar, and he's basically screwing up. He doesn't want to be a warrior. But you could have of.
He's part of that like performance in the street type thing. Yeah, no, that could be interesting. I'd like that.
You could. Is the green KDF Alexander? Is that the one from DS9 with the different actor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of wish it was a little better than that because.
Right, Morning Alexander, where he's over his mother's body.
Kal'Hyah Alexander.
That would be yeah.
Wait,
Taoian.
no, we've had that.
Sorry. Yeah,
Is that-
Taoian.
Taoian.
Because he's the best.
What show am I on? What are we talking about?
Guess what?
This
He's
is Star Wars.
It's
Yeah,
that. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be statting up Princess Leia next.
Okay.
If you want an original, if you want an actual Timelines originals, you could have Ambassador Alexander and take his, because in the books, completely non-canon and completely crap, but he does take on Worf's ambassador role and he becomes the Federation ambassador.
I feel like it's a much more natural place for him to go than the KDF.
That was one of the few things they did in the books that I actually agreed with. Oh, Rascals Alexander.
I'd allow that. That's fine.
Yeah, where he's driving little RC car through the.
Yeah, so dumb. Kyra 47. He is blue. I would. In fact, no. Hang on. Do we not have?
We do.
Do we have this is blue?
This is blue.
Oh, thank you.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah, no. We gotta throw a few crew in it, otherwise it doesn't feel real. Otherwise, these Timelines Talks originals do not feel legitimate, and they are legitimate, all of them.
Oh yes.
Coming soon to a mobile game near you with probably worse stats, but it's fine.
Yeah. The wrong traits. Anyway, speaking of the wrong traits, no, I'm joking. Toreth, I love this episode. This is like one of the few good Deanna Troi episodes. Especially the scene where she's grilling Toreth on the bridge and basically blustering.
Really, you like this?
I love this episode.
I love this episode.
This is a huge cringe watch for me.
Wow,
it's so tough to sit through. Yeah.
I love it because it's actually finally giving Troi something good to do that isn't. I'm sensing they're angry as they're firing phasers.
No, I really like this episode because Deanna gets to do something that's like not just like either being sexually assaulted or mentally assaulted or turned to some receptacle for some asshole's negative emotions or some other form of assaulted.
Diplomacy is on record, Captain.
And
that was also triggered by Captain Idol, just so y'all know.
Wow, just throwing him under the bus there. And it's also where we get, I think, a continuation of the deepening of Romulan culture, because the first time they appear in Balance of Terror, and then in the Enterprise Incident, you get they're flavored very differently to the Klingons. Like even from their outset, they're made out to be a lot more like humans and be more sympathetic. You know, the Romulan commander Karas, aka Sarek, has that moment of you in a different life. You and I could have been friends, and they continue that sort of humanizing, like, there we go. That trend throughout TNG, and not so much in DS9. They could have gone with it a bit more in DS9, and Toreth is one of those.
Deal with it.
God damn.
Sorry.
And Toreth is just a great supporting character, and I believe she's played by Carolyn Seymour. And she just has this great scene. Like, no matter what your thoughts on it are, you must enjoy this scene. Where they're having dinner, as is, customary for a guest of the captain, and she is just giving, Major Racal, both Barrows about, the death of her father who was in prison for speaking out against the state, and that's where her ship arena ability comes from. Was the Empire threatened by
I'm surprised
the words
she
of an
didn't
old man?
do the whole like, oh yes, my academy instructor, Dr. Tereleth, and then she goes, oh yes, I like Tereleth. Haha, I just made him up. You're a fake. I'm surprised they never did that in that episode.
Fake.
Yeah, well, hang on.
It's a fake.
No, it is.
Do we have that?
It's a fake.
Of course we do. That was nearly pitch perfect, Auto. Jesus.
Dude, this is the premium #1 talk show for all things Star Trek. All right,
literally is.
And this one's also partly up here for Namer, because when I was first starting to do the these Timelines Talks originals. They're not fake crew. He basically asked, can you throw in a lot of Romulan crew? Because we have a lot of really bad ones. And that's changed. We've gotten Laris, we've got a few other ones. But I like making good Romulan crew because it still feels like they could do with more. Like they are still... We need more of them. I hope that Picard Season 2 doesn't completely abandon that plot thread, even though it probably will.
Sounds like it is, but hey.
Yeah. I mean, Laris is at least still in there, so
we've always
there's at least one Romulan in the main cast. Damn right.
Yeah, Zaban doesn't seem to be anywhere in the promotion, does he?
Yeah.
He seems to have disappeared. Anyway, moving on. De-aged Guinan.
Okay,
Speaking of sneaky rascals.
Wow, same wavelength. There was some... I forget where this was. Someone... I don't know if it was a comedy bit or what. Someone didn't understand the word de-aged, and they thought it was deeged.
Oh, that was me.
Was it you?
I remember doing that. I remember doing that live on stream. I was just like, what the fuck is deeged? Oh, and it clicked at that moment. I was like, oh, yeah.
Dude, when was that? Was that another fake crew segment?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, that was de-aged.
Like, what is deeged?
It was D to Picard.
Yes, it
Deeg
was.
to Picard.
Thank you. Carlos.
Yeah, no,
Deeg
from the
guy
New Brass Data V and Alicia Travers.
I take it as I read it. I'm a simple man. I was educated properly. Please.
Okay, first of all, this is absolute nonsense. She has, I've confirmed this from the source himself. She has the athlete trait for jumping on the bed next to Ro. Come on, bro.
Right.
Yes, yeah. Definitely.
I've never known a more athletic ability.
I wish I could jump on the bed now.
And she does at least crawl through some Jeffries tubes. That also qualifies. Come on, man. Just because I'm more generous with traits than WRG, who will give some crew 4.
Still hoping for that athlete collection.
They generally don't. They did great in this triple mega, but they generally don't do super tight megas where you're going to get like everyone from one episode or everyone from one like theme. But if they did a Rascals mega, like wouldn't that be a slam dunk? I think everyone would love it. It would be a really fun theme to play with. I hope they do it someday. And the fact that we haven't had any of the Rascals crew yet gives me hope.
You know what you could do? You could do a flip side Rascals and what is it? The one where in TOS where they're all aging.
The Deadly Years.
The Deadly Years. Like you could have like old decrepit Kirk and like that lot as one side of it, and then Rascals on the other. Yeah, exactly. I think that could be a fun mega theme. That'd be good fun.
Welcome to chat, No Name Namer, who's a little under the weather, but he's still a trooper to join us.
Yes, everyone in chat, please hold your hands up and give No Name Namer your energy because he is currently battling the Black Plague.
Bomb. Yes, Dragonborn.
Damn right. Reset the clock.
Also, he's tall. That's all we know about him. He's sick and he's tall. After working on the big book with him for 1.5 years, I know 2 facts. I know he's tall and he's currently ill. That's all I know about him.
And very well endowed, I hear.
But wait.
Yeah?
You're not the only one that can do that.
Wasn't me this time, folks.
Anyway, next one. Norman,
coordinate.
Do you want to give a shot at writing some flavor crew for him, like Auto? What would his flavor text be?
Dude, I am not programmed to respond in that area. This is one of my favorite episodes because it's just so stupid. Hold on, I gotta tell you, you guys vamp. I gotta find the transcript for this. I'm gonna read you a line from.
So he's an android.
Okay, here we go. He is indeed an android. I think that most of these make sense.
So, the general plot of the episode is Harcourt Fenton Mudd sends an android to corral the Enterprise, bring him to this planet.
Oh, this is the Chekhov stupid dance one, isn't it?
Yes, we get dancing Chekhov from that. And so he calls himself Mudd the First, sovereign ruler of the whole entire planet. And the truth is, there's a whole series of androids there. There's like thousands of android civilization, and they have him as captive because they want to study humanity. And of course, he's the worst subject of humanity they have to offer because he's such a scoundrel. So, Mudd brings them the Enterprise so that they can study them instead and let him go. Of course, they're not going to let him go because, they're bad guys, they're evil androids, and they have to outwit them by aiming illogic directly at them. So they do all sorts of stupid stuff to get them to overload. And
favorite one is when Spock goes up to those two identical, and it's two identical twin androids, and he's like, "I love you, but I hate you." It's like, "But we're identical." Yes, I know, and that's why I hate her and love you. And then their heads both just fucking explode like fembots. It's great.
That's where the Austin Powers thing comes from, isn't it?
There's a bit of that
machine gun jubblies, baby, yeah. Okay, so there's a little bit. I'll read you a little bit. We should probably do this for a table read sometime. But Mudd says, "Do you know what the penalty for fraud is on Deneb 5? Spock says, "The guilty party has his choice: death by electrocution, death by gas, death by phaser, death by hanging. The key word in your entire peroration, Mr. Spock, was death. Barbarians. Well, of course I left." Kirk says he broke jail. "I borrowed transportation. He stole a spaceship. The patrol reacted in a hostile manner. They fired at him. They've no respect for private property." And it's like, these two are just, already know Shatner's over the top. And of course, Roger Carmel. So it's like the whole interplay, all the lines. It's so fantastically. It's so dumb. I hope we get Mudd the Fifth at some point from this episode too. It's a fun romp.
Man. So, now I want to go. I'll do an entire raft of Fake Crew just based on this episode for you, Auto.
Bless we can't get Roger Carmel in the game. Unfortunately, we have to have the.
I'll make a Fake Crew for him, considering the fact we can't get him in the real game.
Well, there you go.
Why not?
Yeah, there you go.
No, sorry, Timeline Talks Originals.
So he's got some,
I think the cat's out of the bag at this point, guys.
So he's got some impressive bases, like 2 Command and Eng, quite high, very similar.
Well, also,
did you actually calculate the voyage rank there? I've got a feeling that's going to be a lot higher than that.
No, that's accurate.
This is after bonuses.
Yeah, these are all boosted scores because I want them to. Obviously, it's a case of they're not always representative. They would look like slightly different on your roster when they eventually come to a mobile screen near you. But one thing I like about Norman is, it's sort of about him. In the beginning, he captures the ship and then he shuts down because he's an android, and in the future that's what they do. So he stands there with his eyes closed and his arms crossed, and he's an immobile, deactivated android. And so at one point, to prove that he's an android and that he can't be influenced by these puny humans, he lifts his shirt and he opens a panel on his belly, and you see like wiring, back and forth, like what the 60s conceived of as an android. And so when they went back and did the CGI update for like the ships and the planets and everything, they actually redid his belly so that when he lifts the panel, it's like a futuristic panel of what an android might look like. It's Star Trek's idea of what an outie is.
Yeah, basically. There's like a little spinning globe in the middle, so that must have been his belly button.
Well, Robinson. All right, let's move on.
I've done well on these Timelines Talks Originals because Auto hasn't given me shit for any traits yet.
Dude, we're not even halfway through our show now.
We've got a fair bit to go
fine.
through. Hey, Auto's got a soliloquy coming up later, so let's move on. Caitlin Dart, there is not enough Final Frontier it's a shit film, but there's not enough Final Frontier representation in the game. Definitely not.
It's a great film.
It is not. There's a few great moments in it. The film is trash.
Stars, when we rewatched this, do you not agree that until the last 20 minutes, it was a above average film?
2 men enter.
Yes. I was enjoying myself. I'm not gonna lie, mostly because it was very, very stupid and I could laugh at it. But that's the thing, is that Star Trek, even when it's bad, I tend to enjoy it. Unless it's like Nemesis, like the sexual assault parts of Nemesis, to be specific. That's when I'm like, no, I can't watch this.
Oh,
but
no,
like,
there's
Final
a poll.
Frontier.
There's a poll, Auto. Nemesis or the Final Frontier?
I feel like most people would actually come down on Final Frontier.
Better or worse?
Better. Let's say better.
Okay, which movie is?
Because I can't. I don't know. I can't decide. I got a feeling I'd go Nemesis just for the ship battle and Archer.
Yeah.
All right.
Also,
pull up
you haven't been crediting. Like a lot of these are actually suggestions from our audience. This one, I believe, was suggested by our own Walt Koenig.
We're finally catching up on the backlog.
Yes. So here's the thing, guys: is that I am going to be working on the backlog. We are going to be getting more consistent, cadence of doing this. So if you have suggestions for crew, throw them in there. I will get to them. I promise you. Eventually, I will get to them.
Sometime 2025, when the game is long gone, but we're still here.
No,
filling up the backlog.
In 20XX, I like calling it 20XX because that leaves me a lot of wiggle room.
But 2099.
I finally completed it.
Do you mind rocking these up for me?
Okay, boys, did I mention that we have half the show yet to go?
It's fine. So Norman was suggested by our very own Dam, who we love very much, and Caitlin Dog was suggested by Walt Koenig. So I looked up how many lines she has. She has 10 lines in the entire movie.
Wow.
That's more than I would have thought.
She makes an impression,
Yeah.
doesn't she?
Well, the erection hair helps, doesn't it?
I wouldn't think you were going with that. I wonder why I like her. Oh, yeah.
Look at her and tell me you can't unsee it.
I was thinking like Scorpion's tail, like I wasn't going there.
Very interesting depiction of Romulus. Yeah, I actually like the fact that she's kind of bright and ebullient and just happy and like. Oh, I'm sure that would have been worn down in time, given her company was a grumpy old Klingon and St. John Talbot himself. But you know, I did like her. She had charisma. I wouldn't have minded seeing more of her.
I'm trying to think because most Romulans are kind of sour, and a lot of them are very secretive. I'm trying to think like Senator Kretek might sort of be the exception there, but I'm wondering if maybe the Maverick trait would be applicable here.
Possibly, yeah. That's not an impossibility.
But didn't Pardek double cross them anyways?
True,
so that was typically
quite
Romulan.
Sort of sociable and very kind of outgoing, sort of like.
Well, yeah, in order to trick them.
A scoundrel then.
Well, okay. Yeah, that's true.
There you go.
And now we move on.
And now you talk.
This is my favorite of your selections because we've run a Star Trek Adventures module on this, which I need to post the rest of it on Move Along Home, and I There
we go.
There it is.
I unironically don't hate this episode as much as other people do because I love the Quark parts of it. I think the Quark parts of this episode are very good. Everyone's claiming that.
God damn it! Everyone's doing it.
Yeah.
Do we have the Romulan guy from the drone episode? You mean Admiral Valdor, who was the namesake of the ship? Yes, we do. I believe I made him for a Timelines Talks Originals a while ago.
Gosh.
I believe I
not in game.
I think I made him a super rare.
That's right. I think we spent 40 minutes talking about his gigantic jawline too.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
That guy's a mensch.
So, we've had our conversations in the past about deserving crew of enormous voyage scores. What do you think of this one?
God.
I want Dom Crew to, because he is iconic. He is actually iconic, isn't he?
It's just a game.
Okay, here's where I'm going to start to diverge here. I would definitely give him engineering, because I think it was like the game that he brought that ended, it was some kind of like technology that ended up trapping them, right? So it was... it's similar to like, they don't say explicitly that he built it, but he was involved with operating machinery that ended up...
rather than, because it was a case of we don't necessarily know what his role in it, whether or not he was the creator of it or if he just knows how to use it well. So I went with
yeah, but I mean, Ruafo with the #1 eng base in the game for bleeding out of his forehead. Like, I think they could give a little bit of eng to Fellow. So
you're not wrong. What do you think of his arena ability?
I was just going to say, can you talk us through that? That's very unique.
So my idea was, what happens when you click on a ship battle in this game, right? You hit auto, and then you tap to 4 times, right? Damn right. So I thought, what about for a character who comes from an episode that's all about playing the game, he forces you to play the game rather than just put it on automatic. Yeah, well, whatever.
Son of a bitch. Anyway.
It's only a game. So when activated, the opposing ship's crew abilities and boosts are immediately nullified, but can be reinitialized manually. So if you're fighting him and you're on the offensive, and he activates, all of your ship abilities like set back to 0, and you can reinitiate them. But if you're playing on automatic, then you're fucked.
Interesting.
That's the dumbest thing in the universe, and I hate you for it.
Yeah, I know. That's exactly it. I want this to be like the most annoying arena crew to ever face. You actually have to play the game. How dare I? How dare I make you do that?
I can't just smash my hands on the screen and just get, oh, look, honor, credits, merits, yes! No, I love Move Along Home for its cheesiness and for what it is. There are some dumb parts in it, but I don't know, I kind of love it.
Low Cost Monkey says he'd be the most hated card in the game. Isn't that appropriate? Isn't that the most appropriate thing in the world?
I don't know if he would. No. Who is that?
He'd certainly be one of those annoying crew to be facing in the arena.
He'd be pretty damn annoying.
I
would just start arena and I would set my phone down and walk away until it's done. I wouldn't even bother with it.
And the thing is, you'd have to give him the voice clip so that every time he activates, it's like, Alan Moraine! And then it's like,
every 5 seconds.
That would redeem him a little bit.
No, every 5 seconds, and it sets your system volume up full. Like, you can't control it. Unmutes the game, sets it up full. Alan Moraine!
To be fair, that bug was already introduced with the last client update, so...
All right. Let's go. Next one, Luau Torres. There are loads of Luau crew we could have. Like, they've introduced it. Let's have a Luau collection, definitely.
Yeah, no, definitely. Now, I believe, Idle, when I said I was mocking this crew up, you had one reaction, and it was, to just pour water all over yourself.
Roxanne Dawson is...
she's a smoke show. Absolutely. No, she looks gorgeous, especially in this dress.
And now Auto talks.
I'm not gonna jump in on this one. It's an interesting crew.
Are you not a Taurus fan?
I'm very much a Taurus fan. Oh. I'm just not gonna, pick my jaw up off the floor along with you two schlubs when we're talking about Star Trek timelines.
It needs to be romantic.
It needs to be romantic. No, she is not being very romantic in the scene. She is hanging out with Paris, and they are kind of on a date. But bizarrely enough, she actually spends more of the time at the luau with Taurik. And she's even like, oh yeah, you expressed an interest in that place over there because they're all about the Polynesian resort at that point in season 3. And she's like, I expressed an interest in that. And she's like, yeah, you did, and during 5 days ago. She's like, I guess I did. So if you want to give her romantic, sure, but then you'd have to give Taurik or Vorik. Sorry, the identical twins.
Bryce Rice.
Yeah, it's one or the other.
Bryce Rice. Yeah, interesting one. 2 skiller though. Surely you could have put something else in there.
She really doesn't do much in this episode.
I will say that, so on the forums, the community liaison, Shan, posted a thread asking for mega ideas, mostly related to Archer variants. That was sort of their idea around the office. And someone brought up the idea of luau crew, maybe a casual mega, and she really cottoned onto that. So you may see that sooner than you think, if they like that idea.
Luau Picard.
Incidentally, I'd be down for that. Well, no, we need Speedo Picard from Captain's Holiday.
I think he's pretty much confirmed that's never happening, which is a crime.
Damn.
Did he?
So, Fallow was suggested by Joshua Tree, and Luau Towers was suggested by Luxie, incidentally.
Okay, next one. I think it's the last one now. To Kenny Gamore. Yes, please. Oh, hang on. Blue skies, smiling at me. Irvin Berlin. Thank you, Otto, for gifting us up.
Urban Berber.
To Kenny Gamore is, I love this episode. or the 2 episodes.
Yeah, he's only in.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised he was only in 2 episodes. I was looking him up, and I was like, "Wait, he's only in 2?" I felt like he was around in more. I think because they mentioned him a fair few times in the intermediary, but he's a really cool character. And I was looking him up for statting him up and giving him traits, and I believe one of the writers, it was either Ron Moore or Ira Stephen Bear, mentioned that he was kind of meant to be one of the German military elite who hated Hitler. And if you're taking the whole Cardassian regime to be Nazi Germany, then that kind of tracks with how his character arc kind of formulates, and he's got that kind of old military nobility to him, and he's just a cool dude. Like, his relationship with Kira was kind of heartbreaking. I love it.
I was just I just written up some Kira card for the big book like 2 days ago, and I mentioned to Kenny Gamora because one of the cards, I forget which one, mentions him in her flavor text, and I said, I hope this isn't the only mention of him that we get, because basically anytime it kind of goes under the radar a little bit. I mean, at least in my circles, but the Kira stuff is so damn good. Her stuff with the Cardassians, it's either reinforcing her preconceptions or it's shattering her preconceptions. And except, I think, it's like a Sulan retread in one of the later seasons where she's pregnant and she's captured by some guy that wants to take the baby out of her. Except for that episode, that one is kind of to me. Pretty much everything else is like quality appointment television. Because she's a great actor, but it's like, it really draws you in, because when she talks about all the stories of the garbage she had to face growing up and other Bajorans had to face, like, there's the real life parallel, like you mentioned, and it's very easy to slip into. They even do a little bit of it in TNG with O'Brien. It's, I don't hate you, Cardassian.
Like
I hate what I became because of you. So it's like, it's so easy getting into it. And this 2 episode arc is great. He does a great job. And you go from like hating him to loving him to hating him to loving him. It's very in depth.
Cairo, duet always comes up when talking about oh no, I'm getting confused. I thought you were thinking this was Maretsa, but this is not. No.
Duet is like kind of like starts Kira off on that trajectory because she
that one. Sorry, I thought he was assuming this was Maretsa, but no, I actually read the sentence properly.
I'll be setting him up as well, because that's another amazing episode. But because that ends on that amazing note of he's just a Cardassian. He wasn't just a Cardassian. That kind of
I like humanization. When they three-dimensionalize the races in Star Trek more than just kind of like their character of the week and like the whole race is like this, everyone is like this same person. They kind of go, well, no, actually some are like this, and they give them a bit of three-dimensionality. I think they really did well with both the Bajorans, with all the races and the main races in Deep Space Nine, with the Dominion, with the Ferengi, with the Cardassians, the Bajorans, even sort of to extent the Klingons as well. They really expanded a lot of character moments and made them a bit more three-dimensional. I think that was one of the reasons we love DS9, like, for what it is,
Absolutely. And I was looking at traits, and I was like, these are a lot of collection traits. These are a lot of good traits I'm giving him, but he's just like, they all kind of fit with his relationship with Kira. Like, I couldn't really pull myself to bring them out. I felt like they all kind of justified themselves.
I could quibble with 1 or 2, but yeah.
Like, he's just a really
I just think you did a shit
character.
job, basically, is what I'm saying. I think it's pretty garbage. I think you do much better next time.
Did you know there's actually a thread in the books where his real daughter ends up going into the mirror universe, and
Of course.
Because everyone goes there.
Of course.
All right, guys, because we got a show to go through, and there's still some more to go, including Auto's Reign of Terror, which I believe you're going to go on about. But first,
you guys are getting so much value for your entertaining dollar.
This is more value than the Quantum Pass. This will last you more than 10 days in your head. There has been an Objective Event update, an Event Hub update. While you two are talking about that, I'm going to take one of my customary trips to the toilet. So whoever had that on the pool, congratulations.
I mean, to be fair, this is one of our longer forays into the realm of Star Trek timelines. All right, I'm going to read a little bit from the announcement. They did do an Event Hub update. In fact, if you open it in your game now, in the upper right, they have a little information icon. You can read through that. Some of it is mirrored in the announcement. But what I found interesting is, read this little section. Our goal with objective events is to have different sets of them to cater to a wide range of players. Training events will be aimed toward newer players to help them get familiarized with various aspects of gameplay. Power-up events, which
I believe this is
the one right now. Yeah, you can sort of read it on the little icon. Power-up events will be geared toward more experienced players engaged in performing well in competitive events. Endurance events, which are the month-long ones, which are month-long events for special occasions. So, yeah, you can see two of them in the event hub right now, Power-up and Endurance, and they have little pips, little icons. 3 pips, I guess, is meant to be hardest. And training events, which have we seen those yet? I don't think we have. I presume it'd be 1 pip. So I think they might be introducing a new one, which should be a little bit easier for players. So they have gotten copious amounts of feedback in the past about things. I think we're kind of locked into, we're going to get these every week. They're going to all have the same format. That was a little bit scary. Gollum, what do you do?
I'm back.
Yeah, you can leave again if you're going to enter like that. Like, what the fuck?
We're finally making timely progress going through the show notes and actually talking about the game, and then...
There's an idol on the side of the plane.
Well, screw that. Let's get back to bollocks. What are you talking about?
I don't know. What are you guys up to? We talk about Reunion Raffi yet?
No, let's do that.
Let's not. All right, okay. So we need to catch up on a little bit. Do we need to talk about Reunion Raffi? It's been a while.
Let's talk about all these crew. Why not? This might be the only time they ever get talked about in the history of the game.
Yeah.
Mind you, no, I would say we're going to get more Raffi variants over time. So I think there's a little bit of...
maybe, just maybe, we'll actually get one that's halfway decent.
One day... Oh, I've really screwed up the thing here. Hang on a minute. There we go. It works. It's a flawless system. Do you know why I love this Raffi? Because she's a caregiver and she finished my collection. That's kind of about it.
So her son in this episode, Stardust City Rag, said to her, "Tell me what was worth ignoring me and Dad until we hardly recognized you. You abandoned us for some crackpot tin hat conspiracy. I don't think you understand just how much it sucked to be your kid." Caregiver trait.
Yeah.
That's the variant. That's the crew we're picking for the caregiver trait.
Yeah, that's not a good... An abandoning mother sort of devolves into her... What is it? Snake leaf vapes she was on?
Addiction, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought this was a really interesting storyline, and it's like... I feel like going into these things, I don't really see it. And I'm like, well, why don't they have any of the sort of like more morality and like ethical things of like, you know, yesteryear? Why aren't they? It's like, oh, it's because they're being a bit more subtle about it. Like, because Raffi's storyline is basically a recovering QAnon addict, essentially. That's kind of what it is, really. When you actually,
except wasn't she right?
Well, yeah, she's right, but the fact of the matter is that, like, hey, there you go, you got fact of the matter there. Is that she was right, but she went about it in entirely the wrong way, and she could have avoided ruining her entire life if she had tackled it a little bit differently. And that is ultimately the problem with, like, you know, this kind of destructive spiral of, like, you know, everything is a conspiracy, is like eventually you turn everyone against you. And I feel like this is a really brutal scene, and I like if her kid ever gets it in the game, he definitely deserves brutal. But like, it was kind of like needed, because it was like until that point you didn't really have a kind of a hard read on who Raffi was, and then it's like, oh, okay, this is a damaged character. She's kind of worse off than Rios is here. She's fucked up her life, and it's gonna be very hard for her to come back from something like this if she ever does.
I'll say that this is hands down my favorite scene in the whole season with Raffi.
Interesting.
The art captures it well. She looks kind of downtrodden. And someone said when this crew came out, that was such a dumb scene. Why did we need that detour? Like, that didn't add anything to the storyline. I'm thinking, bro, have you watched those 30 episode seasons of TOS or those 24 episode seasons of TNG? Like in television nowadays, you get 10 episodes. If you want to do any character building, any world building, you got to do it somewhere. And this was it. Like I didn't care about her. Her calling Picard JL was the most annoying thing ever. I didn't care about her as a character. And then they did the scene, and all of a sudden I felt something about this character. I'm like, wow. She's getting the shit kicked out of her by someone she's trying to reconnect to.
It's a real sense of pathos, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm feeling bad for her. I'm feeling something for her. The art captures it pretty well. Like she's like, she knows what she did to deserve it, but she's also wondering, what did I do to deserve this? So it's
exactly. It's that
a good amount of emotion.
I know I've gone beyond the pale, but please forgive me, type thing. Yeah.
And like many other characters you feel bad for, she also sleeps with Seven.
Oh, yes.
So we should ask, who's the better lover, Raffi or Chakotay? Raffi attempts to reconcile with her son Gabriel in the hopes of making up for lost time.
Caregiver. Anyway, moving. Oh no, that's not the right button. Hang on. Too many buttons. Let's find
Suspense.
In the. It's not voice activated. Come on, put the effort in if you're gonna do it.
I promise not to do it anymore.
Recovering from a hangover after a 3-day binge. Sorry, I'm reading the flavor text. That's your job, Auto. No, Twilight Archer is here in his uncomfortable pajamas and severe headache. I haven't really had a chance to give this crew a good look. He is the reward for this weekend's event. This doesn't look great.
He is just...
The anterograde amnesia from a parasitic infection leaves him confused and unable to serve as captain. The thing I love about this flavor text is the phrase anterograde amnesia doesn't appear in the script. It appears on the memory alpha page.
Yes.
So I think we know where this one came from.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I went back and watched the episode.
It's a good episode.
I kind of love it. It's in the middle of season 3, so which means I haven't seen it very much because I typically check out of this indie stuff. I like it. The very short TLDR is Archer gets infected with these temporal parasites that give him amnesia. He can't create new long-term memories. So he's basically stuck in, he thinks he's the captain. And T'Pol takes care of him over time. She lives with him for years. She has to keep retelling him this is what happened. And so they finally, Phlox, who ends up with a mullet in this episode. We need all the Twilight crew because mullet Phlox is
Twilight
fantastic.
Reed with the goatee.
And it's almost like
what?
Mirror
Twilight
Reed.
Twilight Tucker, who can be a fucking captain. He's a fucking badass in that episode. I love him.
So mullet Phlox comes up with a way to eradicate these temporal parasites. And as he does, it sort of resets the entire timeline. He realized it's actually a really great twist. As he removes the parasites in the present, they disappear in the past as well because they, live throughout time. So it's a really fun. It's like a bottle episode. Yeah.
Well, it also, and it's like it avoids the whole time travel problem of that entire episode was pointless because yes, that future timeline that we saw was avoided. But it gives you a lot more context and a lot more weight to what if we fail? Like, what actually happens if we fuck up and we lose? And it's like, that future sucked! They're fucking stuck on SETI Alpha 5, ready for it to get, ruined by the... Yes, that's
SETI Alpha 6!
Yes,
that doesn't bode well, does it?
That's the ultimate irony, is that they settle on the planet that's going to get ruined in 100 years. So even after escaping the destruction of Earth, they still get kicked in the nuts. It's that's what gives it so much that sucks so much. It's like, and that gives it a lot more weight. That's what gives season 3 a good amount of stakes because you're like, they won't blow up Earth because TNG, DS9 Voyager still have to happen. But then you get to see this, and it's like, well, what actually happens? It's like, that we should avoid that. Maybe we should try harder and fix this.
The thing is, they're not going to blow up Earth, but they did take Florida out on the way.
Maybe that wasn't such a bad thing.
But
so he debuts below rank 200 unboosted, and he's command obsec. That's all you need to know about his voyage power. He's a top 5 dip base because who isn't these days? They refresh that a ton. Like we just recorded the video on Graduation Amanda. This is the 3rd dip base to pip her in the month since she came out. So it's like they refresh it almost every week.
Dip is not dipping.
I think the commandos doesn't make sense because like they essentially refuse to follow any of his orders because he's senile. Like he doesn't remember that he's not captain. And then at the end he like replaces some engineering part and like sets the ship to overload. They could have given him some engineering just to mix it up.
So basically fry the warp core in order to get rid of the parasites. And it's like it's also really silly that they gave him a dip primary when I look at this art and the primary scene I think of him when he's in this outfit is when he kills that one Zindi with the statue of Zephram Cochrane. And it's like, I kind of wish we'd gotten that art instead, where he stabs him in the back with that statue and they made him a sec primary. That at least would have been, like, kind of funny. Or, you don't even have to make the statue bloody. Just having him in his arm, in his hand or whatever, I'd be like, okay, I know what scene that's from. That's a decent one.
Welcome, Mr. Big McLarge Huge, to the stream. We missed you, buddy.
Really?
You missed everything. I'm sorry.
We've still got like 4 hours to go. So this is sort of the typical post-mega come down. If you need a break now, the competition for Keyla was pretty darn fierce. So if you need a break, this is probably the week to take the break.
Galaxy though. It's Galaxy this week, isn't it?
No, yes, I believe so. Yeah.
So if you want to spend a ton of crons and grab them, shouldn't be too expensive.
I also have to question.
No, faction this week.
Oh, it's faction.
Galaxy
okay,
next
thank you.
week.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry.
So, for those of us with slightly longer memories than Goldfish, does anyone remember Archer and Porthos?
Yes.
Arthos,
yes. The other massive dip command sec Archer variant with a bad voyage score and lip traits. Anyone else remember that? Do you? It's not enough that you have to keep on giving us Command Dip Suck crew for the Command Dip Suck connection, but now you have to start giving us in the same crew over like the course of like a few months. Like really? Wasn't enough?
Poop question, sir?
Poop pee.
a poop crew, sir.
Yes.
Poop pee.
Poop pee.
I mean, he's not the worst thing ever. He does have a handful of viable traits. Like he does have that good dip base. Yeah. So, he's probably going to get 2-3 factions a year. It's just that he sort of comes pre-aged into, crew, if you can use them in gauntlet, voyages, sometimes arena, but then everyone ends up in the graveyard of, they have a few traits, a few collections, and they might get used in an event once a year.
So fuck your tokens, this is a faction if you want him.
Yeah, so he already comes pre-aged to the point where, this is where crew kind of end up in the future anyway,
yeah.
So...
Pre-aged only works for steak and whiskey, not crew. Channeling my inner being there.
You know what? The art does at least remind me of one thing, which is one of my favourite little touches about the episode.
What, you need to drink
more? Archer's hair.
Oh.
No, I don't. It's about Archer's hair. And it's that if you look closely, you notice that it's cut in the Vulcan style, because T'Pol's the one who cuts his hair for him.
Yeah.
Which I think is a fun detail.
If you're one of those fan fiction enjoyers, this is very much. It's also a story of T'Pol trying to deny that she's in love with Archer over the years, and they bring that up a lot of times. So I kind of like that angle because they do bring it up a lot in the first few years too. Like just from the point of view of, okay, we're creating a television series. We have to have a few romances in there. We have to have build the tension and they might go for each other. So that does pop up a lot in the first few years. And they pay it off in the only way that it can be paid off in this episode, as in an alternate future.
I think I've read that Mills and Boon novel at some point. Shall we move on to...
Well, hold on a second. No. Alternate future collection. Yes, no?
Oh, yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
I'd love
that. We have a bunch of crew from The Visitor. There's so many Trek episodes where they
Vice Admiral Janeway from Endgame. Yeah.
Bear with me because I do actually have on Captain Idle's data core analysis sheet. I do have a fun collection of alternate future crew, which I call...
Is it fun?
Sorry, it's very fun. I find it extremely... It's the most fun you will have with your clothes on. I can't even find it. What did I call it? Where's it gone? Hang on a minute. Bear with.
No one vamps like Idle.
Oh yeah, just in the not too distant future, so you could have.
I did it that
time. So alternate future whoever's. You've got Captain Beverly Picard, Vice Admiral Jamie, Captain Harry Kim, Captain LaForge, Captain Lorian, Captain Nog, Gaia Odo, CMO Ogawa, Admiral Picard, Twilight T'Pol. There you go. So there's enough for a small to mid-range collection to get a better card than this.
It's a nice collection of disparate crew as well. I like ones that are weird collections of crew.
Did you say desperate collection? We can do that. 500 crew. There you go.
Shit, yes. All right, let's move on to next week's crew. The addition of another royalty is in presence, and another TOS from the Shore Leave episode, I believe it was, with the White Rabbit and Alice in Wonderland and all that. Princess Tonia Barrows.
Julep McCoy, as I recall.
Yes, that's true. Julep McCoy holding 2 drinks and not 2 women. Which
he's actually from the episode where the plant spores infect everyone and Spock falls in love with Layla Kulumi.
Yes, he's leaving the tree, isn't he? Yes,
I also mix it up. I think one day, it's probably a lock, we'll get that version of McCoy with his arms around the 2 bikini-clad girls.
Does he not make a Julep in the Shore Leave? I feel like he does.
No, it's the other one.
Spiritually, he is.
Fair enough. Yeah, Spirit is holding him in Julep.
During her time with McCoy on Shore Leave, Barrows thinks of wearing a fairy tale princess dress, which somehow instantly materializes.
Okay, so who's
this
the better?
This art is beautiful.
It is, but I was going to say, who is the better princess? We're going to have a princess off now. Is it going to be Princess Barrows or Princess Kira? Or Princess Dax?
It is Grecian Caroline Palamas.
Or that one.
I'm partial to Kira, actually. I like the art for her, and like that kind of bronzy gold that they went for her dress is very, very fetching.
I like how frustrated she is wearing it. I love that scene.
I was playing a married woman. It's a fun scene.
Sorry, yes, Kira
I love
the queen.
She looks like she belongs in like the 1950s Cinderella. She has that. Like, there's something about the art that's a little bit smoothed out, but I don't actually mind it for this crew. It has that, like, Cinderella 50s Disney look to it, and I like it.
If this was a miniature,
and I'm a sucker for a multi-crew. Yeah.
But so this is actually... she's very similar also, card-wise, to Palamas, in that they're mostly a Voyager, not much else, a few relevant traits. So this is... she's essentially a one-off character, so... With however many thousands of those there are in Trek, it's nice to get a crew who's kind of usable, doesn't edge out too many people from what they're good at, contributes a little on her own. This is kind of like the right place, I think, to debut crew who are not very memorable.
Almost Kal'Hyah Worf-ish with that mid-tertiary and a sort of like in the mid-50s to 100 voyage.
Mid-tertiaries are we now?
Oh, yes.
Actually better on Voyages than Worf, but I won't pick at that scab too much.
Imagine Picard sitting in the roster for picking out his crew. It's like, who should we have? Should we have the dedicated seasoned officer? No. Let's have the lady in the dress, please.
Well, I mean, and then everything's fallen off and I can see everything.
Yes, I can see everything.
So, the one crew I want, actually maybe 2 crew. It's so dumb, but the little thread in Shore Leave is... So, I keep giving these synopses, but TOS isn't everyone's cup of tea. They beam down to a planet where everything they think becomes reality, and it's meant to be like a version of Ariza. And because they're not used to the strange thought patterns of humans, they don't know how to use the planet properly. But anything you think of, they create for you, out of thin air. And because it's Kirk, and he's such a weirdo, his idea of relaxing is to go beat up the kid that bullied him back in the academy. So he chases this little shithead named Finnegan all around the planet. Bad. They get into fist fights. His shirt gets ripped 8 ways from Sunday.
Impressions. There you go.
And we're after me Lucky Charms, and Finnegan's. Literally. It's really bad. And come on, Jim boy, you want to hit me or whatever he says.
Does he really like that? Fuck me.
It's really bad. So I really want to get Finnegan, and I want to get some version like ripped shirt Picard, like Pantene, hands on his knees, with a big grin on his face because he's beating the crap out of this guy who used to bully him in the academy. That was a fun little thread, I think.
So there is another version of Tonia Barrows we could have as well, which is the one which has kind of got the ripped uniform, like at the end, where she's disapprovingly looking. You could have disapproving Barrows, where she's looking at McCoy and kind of going, what are you doing with those women on your arms? Should be me. Because they were having a kind of a fling in that episode, weren't they? It was almost a...
McCoy's a well-renowned man-slut, so you know.
Yeah.
She beams down like the standard red uniform, and I think it gets torn at one point, so you could do either version of that. But yeah, just her in a red uniform.
So we've got costume collection. I could see royalty. I would like a TOS bombshells collection.
Only if we get Helen Noel.
Yeah.
It's dangerously missing from this game.
What was it, like our first or second Q&A with Ben? Someone asked for a TOS for more TOS bombs, and since then we've averaged like 2 a month. We've gotten so many.
It wasn't long after that we got Spocktober, right? With like 3 out of 4 of them were like TOS bombshells. And Layla Kalumi, and who else was in there? Yeah, Miss Halloumi herself.
To bring anyway. Yeah, we're up to 15 royalty crews, so they could definitely do something with that.
Yeah, that'd be an easy one to do.
Nice. All right. From her event, you can also win. Hang on, when I find it.
Dude, we should probably do more than one show a month so we can
share this. This is a lot of catch up, but we will have more time to do sort of. It'll be timeless talks next week, I promise, unless I go on holiday.
We'll timestamp it tomorrow. You can pick what you want and leave what you don't.
Yeah. Or listen to the podcast, or if I can be bothered to update it. Okay, Ensign Taurik, hurrah! A super rare Vulcan again, so I can complete my collection, which will happen tomorrow, or not tomorrow.
Another fine addition to my collection.
Yes, exactly. I'm the Darth Grievous, General Grievous, with my many crew asthmatically wandering around interstellar space. Yes. Anyway, this crew
intersmeller
space. The ability to enunciate myself has become severely degraded. Ensign Taurik, Spock.
A witty and inquisitive Vulcan who befriended several ensigns. He was enthusiastic about his work with LaForge on the warp drive.
Ben, if you're still listening, this does not count as Lower Decks crew. Come on!
Yeah, kinda.
Yes, it does.
So
but it's not the one
we
got Lavelle.
3 out of 4 of them now. We're missing Ben,
Lavelle
right?
a little while back, and we have the Cadet Ceto Jaxa, which, if we ever get the version of her as the prisoner of the Cardassians with like the
Jackson.
hero trait, that would be really cool.
I believe I mocked her up, actually. Yeah, I wanted to do her justice. I'd like her to be a legendary.
Definitely. Mock Bara Ceto Jaxa.
Damn right.
Oh, that's another good one.
Warp theorist, telepath, like they remembered warp theorist. I'm pleased about that.
It's not just Tilly.
So he is a reward in the Galaxy event. So if you're a new player and you somehow found us, welcome to the game. You could use him on voyages. So try to get that 4th copy if you can. He'll voyage for you for a little while with a pretty good skill set. And then you're just waiting on traits like a lot of Purple Crew. There's no gauntlet. There's no good ship ability. A couple of collections like most crew have, and he might get 1 or 2 more. So, I really like. I forget the actor's name now. I was just reading about him today, but he was in like this one episode. They said they might bring, if TNG had gotten an 8th season, they probably would have bring him back. But he ended up parlaying it into, I believe, 9 Voyager appearances as
sounds about right.
A different Vulcan character, and they never canonically established that it was his brother, but it's the same actor. So it was cool that I think they had pegged him for a pseudo Spock type character, and I remember reading that he felt it was a lot of pressure on him to try to perform up to that kind of standard, but he did well enough for them to want him back in another series. So
he's a fun character, honestly. Like his appearances on Voyager, I thought he was a fun enough character.
Oh, he's Jerry Taylor's son. I didn't know that.
Oh, really?
Huh.
Well, that would explain why he came back for 9 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he earned it. That was good. He was good for it.
Yeah, he earned it.
Yeah. All right. Special moment now. So, avid viewers, in our absence.
Did you say special moment?
I'm removing that trigger next week.
I'm a big fat liar. I wouldn't do it again.
Apparently, according to a lot of people that message you, a big fucking cheat as well. But hey, in the month that we were off,
Thanks for reminding me.
You may have noticed that a certain someone was at the top of the leaderboards in the entire mega. In fact, counting in 3 number 1 events and 1 top 25 event in the latest mega. This man here, Automaton 2000. You got, dude. What is wrong with you?
The legend.
What is wrong with you? What kind of determination do you have to just sort of sit there and go, "This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to score number 1." And that absolute 100% Bajoran claps all round. And I'm ashamed we weren't here to sing your praises every week, which is why we're devoting some special attention to it now. But God, what was going through your head? What were you doing?
Let me shout out Space Junkies Scholar, who chased me in that first skirmish event. He's a really great dude. We had him on the show, and we've been talking a lot since then. Classy guy. SOS Navark chased me in the Galaxy. He's a classy guy. We've talked a little bit since then. He's won a couple Galaxies in the past. And then Captain Skirmish, who I'm afraid I broke him because he chased me that first state, and then he just shut it down, and he did like 500,000 more VP the rest of the event. And he put up 25 and change million last year when I put up 27 million, which I think is still the record. So this guy can skirmish. I don't think he hasn't a win yet, and I want to see him have one because he's a great player and he deserves one. If I had to do it over again, I wouldn't do what I did that last month. I had not really pushed hard in an event since I'd won one middle of last year, and I thought, okay, I'll just save up and maybe I'll win some down the line. So things were kind of confluencing. I thought, wouldn't it be fun if I could do 4 in a row? Sweep the whole mega. The mega looked like some fun crew. I had the chronotons. I had the time. So the first one was a skirmish. That's kind of my wheelhouse. I felt comfortable. I did that. Then the next week was going to be a faction. And I had a lot of dill saved up. I did crunch some numbers. I thought, okay, I could put up probably 6 million. That would have been enough to win any of the previous 10 factions. I went back and checked all the scores. And there was a lot of preparation that goes into that kind of stuff, which I won't cover. But I found out, I think it was this Cisco one messaged me like the day before. And they said, I heard Klingon Marauders are planning a memorial dedication run because Michelob had passed. So I contacted KM's leader and I said, what's going on in this history? He said, yeah, my condolences. I said, well, I can't do it now. Either you win the event and you're the jerk that interrupted their celebration, or you lose because they are really pouring their heart out for their friend. And that saved me because I would not have been able to win that event anyways. That was a crazy, it was ironically a very fitting tribute to Michelob because it was like the highest scoring event since he used to put up 8 million like it was nothing. So at that point I thought, well, I'm not going to get my 4 in a row. I don't know. Maybe I'll just throttle back. And so the Wednesday before the third event in line, which was a Galaxy. Sorry, I hope I can hold it together. Neighbor boys came over and knocked on my door and they said, your cat's dead. I'm like, what? So I went out and found her. Sorry.
No, it's all right, dude. No worry.
And so, at that point, I'm like, well, I want to put her name up on the leaderboard so that everyone can see it. Yeah. And actually, it was probably the best thing I did because that whole weekend, and then the next weekend too, I didn't have to think about anything. I just sat there and tapped, and I watched Star Trek and talked to you guys. It was a perfect getaway from having to deal with that stuff mentally. So it ended up just being on autopilot after that. And, like I said, I'm glad that it happened because I got to meet some pretty cool guys in the community and talk to them. But if I had to do it over again, I would not have, because it's very draining and it takes a lot of time. And I felt out of it for like the whole week after. And even when I could sleep, I'm just like, mentally you're just not there anymore. So I doubt I will be winning another event maybe ever. Like, I think I've done enough for now. I'll go thresholds and out a little more.
Man. You're a mensch. You know you are.
So, but it came at the right time, I think, because it was a good getaway. And so people are like, well, how do you do that? How do you stay up? Well, you just, I don't know. It's like a mindset thing, because when you know you're going for the top rank, you just got to put everything into it. If you just want to get top 100 and you try to live your life in between, sometimes you go and check your phone. You're like, oh, crap, I'm way behind. I got to go tap some more. And that's kind of inconvenient. But I think I've told these stories before. So I just wanted to shout out Scholar, Navark, and Captain Skirmish, because those are all great guys too, and they were very clear. If it was me, I would have been the saltiest bitch on the planet. I would have been like, all right, I'm spending every chronoton. I don't care if you win. I'm going to make you stay up the whole weekend. I'm going to buy dill. I'm going to buy chronotons from the store. I'm going to make you earn this. And those guys knew when to tap out. And, they saved us both a little bit of work. So kudos to them for being more humble than I would have been. I'm not sure I could have gone down without a blaze of glory. So
I think it's the nice part of it is, as we've been doing the show and been getting, sort of talking people up on the leaderboards and talking to a lot of people like the junkies, we found out like the actual competition is not really a competition. It's more like a community thing. Like, people are going up together and are ribbing each other on. And like, when we had Scholar on and you guys were talking about your 1-2 little battle, like, and that was, it was nice to hear that people are, the phrase that WRG doesn't use anymore, but we're in this together, as it were. But yeah. No, congratulations! Like, this, it's an absolutely huge achievement. Thank you, the Wizard Lizard. Huge achievement to score. Even though the Mechalope event, you still got top 25. I think you were 23, perhaps, was it?
Something like that.
Yeah, and rightfully for stepping down, but an absolute achievement for doing that, and to show it can be done. Like, if anyone else wants to sort of push that kind of level, whether you want to divulge.
Yes, it's for the children. I'm I'm a role model.
There you go.
You're my role model, Auto.
Yeah, good fun. Anything else you want to say on that? Do you want to share us your hot tips, your secrets, your little unknown, preparation
That was the
techniques?
first time I pushed something that wasn't something. Actually, it does help, because I was on my butt more than a lot. That was the first time I tried something other than a skirmish, and it's really interesting. I hated it. It was a really interesting mind game.
So does everyone else. Everyone hates galaxies.
You have to watch. Okay, how many super rares is the person holding? Did they turn some in? What's their pace like? And like, I was logged in on a second account on my phone just so I could check the leaderboard every half hour, 1 hour, to see what their pace was like. And it was so, like, writing stuff down and trying to keep track of it. And it was so irritating. I don't want to do that ever again. So
like, I'm imagining like Auto just like playing like a fighting game where it's like all those footsies and everyone refuses to throw the first punch because they're like, I'll get comboed instantly. It's like everyone is too afraid to start throwing their super rares too early.
Okay, guys, let's talk about, let me press the right button here. Let's talk about Prisoner Cornwall, who was a crew that was added a little while ago in the game, and made a brief resurgence. She's had a bit of an artwork update, and it's nice that they do the artwork updates, but I have to say they've managed to change her into a completely different character.
She's looking jacked. She's got a 12-pack.
No, seriously.
Yeah, shredded.
Wilson Cruz is like sculpted.
Okay.
This is crazy.
If you're on a computer, open a new tab, search Wilson Cruz abs, and you'll not be disappointed.
You could grate cheese on those fuckers. It's kind of insane.
Deal on it. But yes, it was the Tuesday pack.
The joke,
yeah, go on.
The joke, if you didn't get it, is they basically just, for whatever reason, they copied Cornwall. So whenever Confidant Culber popped up in a Behold or in a Shuttle or whatever, it just said Cornwall as his name everywhere. So they must have copied her template and didn't change any of the parameters.
Which is hilarious.
CMO and a shoulder to lean on for the Discovery crew, who does not leave scientific research to help Gray.
How do you feel about this crew being in the vote for what we had for the Player's Choice a while back, for Saru winning it? And now, how do you feel like after they said, oh yes, we'll make sure everyone has a chance to get this crew, for him to turn up in a 6-pack, which for me, because I wanted this crew.
Guess what? Totally predictable.
Yeah.
Guess what? This is the problem with democracy.
Yeah, it doesn't make it feel any better.
Okay, folks, poll up in chat. Would you rather have one returning Saru, which we did get for free, or this version of Confidant Culber? Because I think when the poll or the question was put to us by WRG, we said, give us the med crew. We don't want another command dip suck. And, well, that's what we got. And even though Saru is very good, and I'm sure all of us are kind of using him on shuttles and stuff, Culber is pretty good in his own right.
Yeah, he's a little bit thin on traits. Like these kind of like very similar to mycelial Culber in terms of like traits. Because I'm pretty sure that Counselor does not pop up on antimatter. But
I think this is the same as the two-skiller, just with the Counselor tag as well.
Yeah, they're very. Culber doesn't have a lot of like unique traits, which I think is a bit of a shame. I wouldn't mind like an EV suit Culber who's got maybe a bit of sec. That'd be a cool a variant. Mirror Culber is also really cool. But that being said, like we say, limited trait pool. Guess what? Med, like a stonking big med base, good voyage score. He will dominate on med seats for probably the next 3 years. Just like how mycelial Culber still makes every med voyage. Every single one. If he isn't, you should be asking yourself why he isn't.
He's in the top 10 for antimatter chance. 95.17% of the time when you open up a voyage, he will find a seat with an antimatter match in either dip med or psi seats. So essentially every time you start a voyage, you can slot him in with that extra antimatter boost. Very good voyager.
That's how much I love those uniforms as well. Like especially the white.
Oh, that's so good. I really didn't like the grey ones. I thought they were like, so drab. Like the flash of color was like, but then they revealed the full primary color. I'm like, fuck yes.
That first season 4 trailer when they had those uniforms, I was hyped. I was just like, yes, good. They've changed it because
bright colors, man. It helps. It's good. It's got that TOS appeal. I love it. I do love the bright colors.
We always had the classic, the yellow, the blue, the red. I wouldn't have minded like a fourth color because you have medical and science sort of smushed up there. If they would have gone white for medical, kind of would have made sense. Although you get a lot of blood on those uniforms.
Well, I actually kind of like that because I think I was talking about this with maybe DC Pilot, noted 2-time faction winner. I believe it's a case of like we were talking about the fact that that actually kind of makes sense for a medical uniform because that means that if someone is bleeding, it shows up on your uniform, so I can identify that as a problem. I do believe back when TOS was first being created, weren't the gold uniforms meant to be green? But because of the way that they were filmed, they came out as yellow. I do recall hearing about that.
I vaguely remember that because like Command Wrap Kirk, he wears that wrap a lot, and that's true, green. Yeah. So.
I believe it was meant to be gold, but like something about the material meant that it came out like greenish. It was like I think that. Yeah.
Podcast listeners, would you rather have returning Saru or Confidant Culber? 79% would rather have had Culber. 21% Saru. Yeah. So the third one in that vote was Gray.
Yeah.
What are the odds we get him in a six pack too?
Yeah.
They're like, they voted for him. They're gonna pay for him, which you can't blame them. But I hope at least Gray shows up in an event or something.
We'll see.
I would like that actually. Like get all three like variants of it. But great art, great Culber. I'm glad that Culber gets to have a good card. I like Culber a lot, and I'm glad he gets to have multiple good cards.
He's got Mirror Culber's fairly
He's got three out of four pretty much. So, the 2-skiller is still pretty cool.
We started getting Discovery Crew in 2017. And he had 0 events in the first 3 years. Since Discovery Megas ended, he's had 2 in 2020 and 2 last year, which is nice. That's kind of what they should have done to transition out of that. So, good for them.
That's probably better than most of the others. Like Tilly, I don't think it's come anywhere near that. Stamets especially not. Like, the only ones who really get events are Burnham, Giorgio, Saru, and Culber.
Yeah.
By the way, I love our wonderful chat. Both Cairo and Big corroborate stars your gold-green theories.
It has been
confirmed. We have the sharpest fans in the business.
Put it to print. Stop the presses.
There you go.
Okay.
I am my what is it they called the wirewolves? I have approximate knowledge of many things.
let us talk about another Tuesday pack that is happening. And I'm going to skip one. Hang on, unless you're messaging me. Someone messaging me?
Don't skip. I want.
Right.
We're talking about this bombshell.
Keyla. I wasn't going to skip. I was going to forward. But let's talk about the one in another Holding Pets collection we could have. Is another one we could have. Keyla Terrana from the Archer Riser episode. Name which was it?
2 days and 2 nights.
Yes, that's the one. Tandarin herself. Fine super rare Voyager. If I don't say so myself.
Very fine. Keyla was okay. I'm gonna, I passed on being skeevy for that other crew. I'll be skeevy for this one because Dae Young is all right. Keyla was a Tandarin disguised as a different species with unclear motives who tried to get close to Archer and question him about the Cabal.
I like that unclear motives because that admits that that's like kind of a little hint that this never went anywhere. This entire plot thread just fucking disappeared.
But I kind of like those. I like the open-ended mysteries just once in a while.
Yes.
This art is fantastic. The lighting is very good. The dress is good. It's a great likeness of Dae Young, who her sister played Ezri Tegan's mother in that one episode in season 7 of DS9.
Christ.
That's a
and then
we've got a new character. Give her backstory, quick. We haven't got much time.
And then Young herself, I think, plays 3 different characters. So, yeah, it's kind of cool.
I actually hadn't noticed the detailing on the dress. That's
really
lovely.
nice.
It's lovely. Yeah.
I like how it shades around as well. You kind of get the balance of light there. The offset lighting as well. It's very nice.
That dog looks sad.
It's a wonderfully ugly dog.
It's unfortunate.
It's a well-done ugly dog.
Yeah. When's that going to be the character portrait for next year?
Probably not too long off. Yeah. We're running out of pets.
We are. But yeah, she's a pretty decent card actually for Super Rare. She's the #1 Voyager. Boosted anyway.
I'm kind of shocked that we have a crew with this. Like, she's like nearly Resistance Neelix with how many traits she has and no collections.
Yes, that's true. I could see romantic. I always say that an undercover operative, but I'm kind of gunning for a romantic collection.
Casual. They've been seeding casual for a good little while now. I feel like that one could easily hit.
But as for pulling a 6-pack for her.
I mean, I know you did.
Yeah, but that's me. I am the exception to every argument on here. Don't do what I do. Don't do what Donnie does not.
She is above 25 legendary crew on Voyages.
It's crazy.
So we're starting to blur the lines between the bottom of the goal. I mean, granted, they're like 2016 2-skillers, but still, you get that 5th star. So
he's saying if she'd have been released in 2016,
2-skill.
If she'd have been released in 2016, she'd have been tier 8.
Yeah. Okay, I guess I'm kind of weird. I know I'm weird. I would almost rather have 6 untapped collection traits than 2 in the 6 in the bush is worth 2 in the hand for me. Everyone has a few collections. I'd rather have someone with a lot of traits, so month to month you can go, oh, I'm glad I made this investment. Now
Resistance Neelix, got it.
I mean, I kind of do.
I do have resistance. I wish I hadn't, but there we are.
I like the ability for my crew to grow in value over time because it makes me feel good about investing in them.
Fair. That's valid.
You've been called out on the phrase 6 in the bush, 2 in the hand.
That is a bonus. That's in the encyclopedia, I think.
Encyclopedia Automechanica. Yeah. Now, for the other Tuesday that we missed, 5-star Platonian Chapel, Med-Sci Sec, Voyage rank. She is a nurse and a physician.
That eyeshadow game, though. Holy shit.
Not holding a dog. Can I bring up my point of contention with this? And I'd like to reference point of order to the court. I would like to bring up evidence C, which is Sentry Crusher, who is in fact a nurse but not a physician. However, Platonian Chapel, who in the show is a nurse and a physician.
Objection.
Sustained.
Someone, I don't remember exactly. Someone mentioned that in the episode, after McCoy beamed down or something, she was placed in charge of sickbay, so that's why she's the CMO at that point.
But she was always nurse chaplain. No, I'm not going to say anything sexist at the time, but I would say her role was nurse at the time. Whether that means something in Starfleet that she is a qualified doctor, but generally the nurses in Timelines have been classified as not physicians. Like, if they want to change that, fine. No objection.
I mean, in this case, she would be the acting CMO, so she would be the head. Like, she can't be a nurse to herself. She's the one in charge. Secondly, I'm pretty sure she's not the only variant with both. I think
everyone always knows that only physicians can heal themselves.
Okay, should we give Nurse Paris?
If you get a collection trait removed from her, then you're the public enemy number one.
At least it's not you this time. But no. But should we give Nurse Paris the physician because he was
collection though? Nurse collection.
Yeah, he was essentially the next senior medic when the doctor goes offline. He becomes the CMO. Paris does so. Should he have the physician collection? But more importantly, I'm more annoyed that Century Crusher isn't a physician. Like, that's the real crime here.
No, I still think that is true because she is undercover as a nurse, but she is still a physician.
Yeah.
Chapel was beamed down and under the control of the Platonians until the Kiranide kicked in.
Fuck, this was a weird episode.
We were halfway through Vegas when the Kiranide kicked in.
We can't stop here. These are Platonians. This is Platonian country, yeah.
Okay, so a few thoughts. They gave her the prisoner trait, which means they need to go back and give it to all the other Platonian crew, and they should.
Yeah, right.
Platonian
They'll add prisoner and take away 3 other traits.
According to his flavor text, he was Chekhov was beamed down against his will, implied in the flavor text, which means he should be prisoner. Whatever, splitting hairs.
Well, they can say whatever they want about Platonian Chapel. He isn't real, so.
During my event,
isn't real. He can't hurt you.
During my event bender, I think I watched almost all of TOS.
Oh yeah.
And they treat women like absolute garbage in almost all the episodes.
Oh yeah.
And that's a product of the times, which actually shocks me that they treated the. Fuck me, I don't know the correct term for little person, dwarf. I don't know what they call him at the time, but Alexander in this episode, they actually treat him with respect. Like, okay,
he's a guy.
He's the court jester, as are all the other crew as they beam down. But the crew of the Enterprise actually treat him with respect, and they're like, "What's different? What's different about you? Why isn't the Kiranide working?" And he thinks they're attacking him for his height, but they're actually just treating him like a normal person. And it was actually a nice little touch that they treat him like a human being in that episode. So, considering how poorly they treat God,
it's bad.
The first 2 seasons and a lot of the third, like anytime they treat women, they're like, "Oh, Charlie aren't you quaint?"
Charlie X started it, and basic human decency.
Pike always did say, "I can't get used to a woman on the bridge." You're different, number one. Fuck you.
Gene Roddenberry, he was very accepting of everyone, race, creed, or colour. But maybe he's a bit sexist. There's that.
Maybe so.
Well, as for the card, like, long-term use here, Medsci is not a wholly rare set. I think this is average-ish. She's tier 5. She's in the middle.
She's actually, so she's another crew. Antimatter chances around 95%. Almost every time you start a don't bring up Turnabout Intruder, there goes a half hour. If we talk about Kirk acting effeminate with his hands on his hips, walking around the ship, oh, good Lord. All right, this is a fantastic skill set. Very good skill set. Very good antimatter chances, but they just didn't give her top shelf power, which would have been wonderful.
As I recall, didn't Twilight T'Pol debut in a very similar place, but she at least had gauntlet power, so it was a bit more of a long-term prospect?
Yeah, I mean, you have a whole laundry list of crew with good skill sets that they put, like, outside the top 100. And because I remember, Stars, you made a comment when Ben was in chat, and maybe we were doing fake crew or something, and you're like, but I can't make him too strong because he has a good skill set. And Ben goes, Stars, I'm glad you realize how the struggles we have in building crew. I'm like, well, don't tell us how the sausage is made. Come on.
Don't admit it. There's got to be some mystique to this.
So Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, is it? Ben standing there with his top hat and his grass made out of shit skills. Look, there's the tube that goes up to fuck all.
I know that compared to pure shitty skill sets. That's your next musical number. There you go.
Oh dear.
Dude, we'll have to parody that next. I will be a Gusta's
knowing where this skill set is going.
I'll be a Gusta's Gloop trying to reach into the chocolate river of good skill sets, and I'll fall in and get sucked up into God knows where.
This voice slump is terrible. I hope it lasts.
Did you say suspense?
The funny thing is, the more I watch it, the funnier it gets, just because of the expressions that are exchanged between Decker and Spock. It's just like, that could be about anything. And there's like, and then Spock's just like, I'll get up. I'll go.
Mr. Spock, you just dropped a dank one.
Are you allowed to wear a mullet in the bridge?
Dude, and if you watch like the HD version of that, you can actually see they took like a colored pencil and drew in the creases in Decker's forehead to make him look even more fatigued.
No way, they did not.
It's like really dark creases. It's funny.
So bad.
Wow.
Anyways, you need to delete that trigger after this week. We can't be trusted with.
Oh no, this is the meme now. This is how you create a viral sensation. Do you want to talk about, so we can finally finish? We're getting there. We're nearly there. We're nearly a 3-hour show. Look at that. This is what happens when we're on. Flint.
Yeah, we can do that.
Please do that.
Well, hold on. I'm gifting subs to whoever's in chat because we're approaching hour 3. If you guys are still listening.
Anyone who's stuck around this long, they're either asleep or they're really devoted.
Nope, you can still go in. This is what happens when we say the magic word Flint. And... Irvin Berlin.
And don't forget, all the money this channel gets from Twitch subs goes directly to the charity stream we'll be having next month, April 3rd. In fact, 1 month from now. So
1 month is nearly enough. Exactly 1 month. Talk about Flint, and then we'll do the post stuff.
Well, yeah, it's just it's another nail in the coffin of 6-packs where. Okay, Eric Nelson, hold on, you're next. Where it's they're essentially disincentivizing players from going for 6-packs. I mean, we saw the tragedy of Evie Worf. It's not a tale that the Jedi would tell you. And the pain that came from that, just for him to be... Don't you hate it when people interrupt you when you're trying to talk? That asshole Otto. I'm trying to tell a story.
Fool yourself.
Yeah, so do you guys dive into 6-packs anymore? Like, are you tempted to? I know, Idle, you do it for purples, yeah?
Yeah.
I did for Confidant Culber, and I think I got him on pull 7 or 8, and I feel pretty decent about that. He'll sit on the shelf for a little bit until I've got some citations coming on the sale, and then I'll feel like, that was worthwhile, but you can very easily strike out. Like, I did, 12 or 13 pulls on the recaps, and I got shit all. I didn't get a single gold, so... don't do them. You may look at the thing and be like, oh, that's a good crew. Don't do it to yourself.
Yeah, I've stopped on golds. I think, trying to remember the last gold I went for might have been Zenghi Riker. And yeah, he's turned up in a 6-pack, or not 6-pack, in an LTO. They just all do eventually. I think the only ones that haven't have been the top voyagers, like the new Fencing Picard. I will imagine they will keep out of it for now. Who knows?
Poll up in chat. I think we've asked you this before, chat, but do you guys try Tuesday packs? I think after the pain that was fencing Picard, I admitted on stream that I had made a pact with my buddy that we would not do 6-packs anymore, and I have not violated that, so I don't intend to anytime soon.
But I do not tolerate disrespect.
Yes. The most appropriate
use. Good old Cyrus Roadblock.
Cyrus Roadblock. Okay.
Cyrus Roadblock.
While you're voting, guys, on, as Morto said, in a month's time we've got our charity stream. You've still got some time to vote for the charity you wish to pick on the announcements channel on the Discord. You can catch the Discord in one of the links that should have been posting at the side, and I don't know why it hasn't, but I'll pop it in there in a second. There are 5 charities to choose from. Noon tomorrow we will be closing that one and picking the favourite charity that you guys have picked. Also, questions for Wicked Realm Games for the Q&A, which is happening later this month. March 23rd, I believe. It's in the events on the Discord as well. Please put in all your questions. Again, noon Eastern tomorrow. We'll be closing them and collating them. So get them in and get the votes in for the charities as well. And we really look forward to this. We've got some exciting stuff planned. I am somewhat hyped for what's going to happen. It's going to be different from last year's one because obviously it's not on a Honor sale. But I am hyped. We're planning things out. The more we're starting to flesh it out, the more excited I am to do. And yeah.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a Star Trek Adventures segment, and I have something in mind that I think is going to be a lot of fun. And
he's not even telling us.
The fact that I'm not going to tell you shit. You don't get to tell me nothing.
I can't wait for that.
I'm going to be taking big advantage of the fact that I have Large Ham Auto and noted actor Shia Porn participating.
Yes, Shia is joining us for a few things.
You just call me a large ham.
You are a large hand.
I thought you said you had a large hand. I was like, show me your hand.
Is that a joke about my giant hand?
Honey glazed auto. There's a variant.
So yes, come and
that
do
was last night, wasn't it?
A little quick sort of mention as well. If you need to check up on any events that are happening, any of the shows that are happening, check the events page on the Discord as well. It's all listed there when our next Star Trek Adventures is, which is this Saturday. So tune in for that, where we'll be concluding Stars' Enterprise campaign before moving on to my Klingon campaign, which I need to finish writing. So yeah, go and check all the different events we've got on there. We're getting quite a sort of a roster of stuff. We've got the Chill stream, but it's all on a YouTube as well. We've got the Chill stream. We've got the Star Trek Adventures stuff. We've got Timelines Talks. We've got me playing Star Trek Online. I've now uploaded on there as well. We get quite the diverse portfolio. It's going to be quite fun.
We're a group of guys who have not gotten tired of each other's company yet, so we keep doing different streams.
We're still convinced we're in lockdown as well. This is the lockdown hobby that just wouldn't stop. Go on, Otto. Finish on for the podcast listeners.
Oh, yeah. Do you try Tuesday packs? 46% say don't do 6-packs, kids. 31% say only when the crew is great. 23% say sure, I'll pull on them from time to time.
And there you have it.
I like to think that we've educated some of our viewers. I like to hope that. I don't know if it's true.
Educate them. Maybe. Don't do what Donnie don't does. We will be back on Saturday for Star Trek Adventures and back again next week for Timelines Talks. We will not leave you hanging for too long. It won't be another month. So
wait, did you leave us hanging?
On that note, I will say